All right. Good evening, everybody. What is up? Welcome to the live webinar with myself, Daniel Kump, and Nick Anderson. He is currently muted, and we'll bring him on in just a second. So first and foremost, I want to invite you and thank you guys for tuning into our weekly webinar series. And yeah, I guess that's it now. It's a weekly webinar series. So all intended just to give you guys value and answer your questions and take you through our business and what we're doing and how that can how we can help you. And that's what we're here for. So before we get into the meat of the content tonight, guys, first thing I want you to do, we got a whole ton of people in the queue logging on. I'll get to you guys in a second. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get right in the head. We're going to get ourselves ready for Nico, Keith, what's going on, man? We're going to get ready to you guys through the training and take you guys through the mindset tonight. So if you have a phone that's on, please do yourself a favor and shut it off. Also, if you have any other tabs open on your computer, shut those down too, so you guys can pay attention and really just kind of focus on the content that we're going to be talking about tonight. Because at the end of the day, guys, what we want to do is we want to give you guys the most value possible, and want you guys to be able to attention. And also just a couple of housekeeping rules too. Please don't drop any links into the comment box. We don't want people clicking off the webinar and going getting caught again by the big dangly shiny object. So just keep it cool, keep it legit. And yes, this will be available afterwards. So this will be on my YouTube channel, and I'll probably have it there either later tonight, depending on how long this goes, or at the latest by tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. So what I'm going to do right now, guys, is share my screen. I want you guys to listen up and enjoy, and we'll be back in a second. Okay. Just give me a minute here.
Albert Einstein once said, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today on trial we have modern day schooling. Glad you could come. Not only does he make fish climb trees, but also makes them climb down and do a 10-mile run. Tell me, school, are you proud of the things you've done? Turning millions of people into robots. Do you find that fun? Do you realize how many kids relate to that fish swimming upstream in class, never finding their gifts, thinking they are stupid, believing they are useless? Well, the time has come. No more excuses. I call school to the stand and accuse him of killing creativity, individuality, and being intellectually abusive. That has outlived his usage. So, Your Honor, this concludes my opening statement. And if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it. Proceed. Exhibit A. Here's a modern day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today. And here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today. And here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now, ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Yet you claim to prepare students for the future? But with evidence like that, I must ask, do you prepare students for the future or the past? I did a background check on you and let the record show that you were made to train people to work in factories, which explains why you put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them sit still, raise your hand if you want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day, tell them what to think. Oh, and make them compete to get an A, a letter which determines product quality, hence grade A of meat. I get it. Back then, times were different. We all have a past. I myself am no Gandhi. But today, we don't need to make robot zombies. The world has progressed. And now we need people who think creatively, innovatively, critically, independently, with the ability to connect. See, every scientist will tell you that no two brains are the same. And every parent with 2 or more children will confirm that claim. So please explain why you treat students like cookie cutter frames or snapback hats. giving them this one-size-fits-all crap.
What's your name?
Sorry, Your Honor. But if a doctor prescribed the exact same medicine to all of his patients, the results will be tragic. So many people will get sick, yet when it comes to school, this is exactly what happens. This educational malpractice, where one teacher stands in front of 20 kids, each one having different strengths, different needs, different gifts, different dreams, and you teach the same thing the same way? Ladies and gentlemen, the defendant should not be acquitted. This may be one of the worst criminal offenses ever to be committed. And let's mention the way you treat your employees.
Objection. Overruled. I want to hear this.
It's a shame. I mean, teachers have the most important job on the planet, yet they're underpaid. No wonder so many students are short-changed. Let's be honest. Teachers should earn just as much as doctors, because a doctor can do heart surgery and save the life of a kid, but a great teacher can reach the heart of that kid and allow him to truly live. See, teachers are heroes that often get blamed, but they're not the problem. They work in a system without many options or rights. Curriculums are created by policymakers, most of which have never taught a day in their life. Just obsessed with standardized tests. They think bubbling in a multiple choice question will determine success. That's outlandish. In fact, these tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned, but don't take my word for it. Take Frederick J. Kelly, the man who invented standardized testing, who said, and I quote, "These tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned." Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if we continue down this road, the results will be lethal. I don't have much faith in school, but I do have faith in people. And if we can customize healthcare, cars, and Facebook pages, then it is our duty to do the same for education, to upgrade it, change it, do away with school spirit, because that's useless. Unless we're working to bring the spirit out of each and every student, that should be our task. No more Common Core. Instead, let's reach the core of every heart in every class. Sure, math is important, but no more than art or dance. Let's give every gift an equal chance. I know this sounds like a dream. Countries like Finland are doing impressive things. They have shorter school days. Teachers make a decent wage. Homework is non-existent, and they focus on collaboration instead of competition. But here's the kicker, boys and girls. Their educational system outperforms every other country in the world. Other places like Singapore are succeeding rapidly. Schools like Montessori, programs like Khan Academy. There is no single solution, but let's get moving. Maybe 20% of our population, they are 100% of our future. So let's attend to their dreams. And there's no telling what we can achieve. This is a world in which I believe. A world where fish are no longer forced to climb trees. I rest my case.
All right. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So, one of the reasons why we, the last 2 weeks, we've started the webinar with a video like that is it's all about the mindset. And what we try to do is, a big thing for Nick and I is having the right mindset and talking to you guys. I got a little error message saying here that they're going to end the webinar if we broadcast content we're not supposed to use. Whoops. Anyway, they'll get over it. So anyway, yeah, guys, one of the reasons why, we do this is because, having your own business and being able to be successful from home and, a lot of people get caught up in the tactical stuff and they get worried about, what to click, what button to push, what do I do, what emails do I send out, where do I sign up, all that good stuff. But one of the most important things, guys, is getting your head right and having the right mindset and the right positive mindset. Because, you guys have all heard the Rocky or Sylvester Stallone comment, it's not how hard you can get hit. It's like, how hard you can get hit, get knocked down, and get back up and keep going. And that's really what it's all about, because as you have your own business, as you progress and move forward in life, you're going to get knocked down. You're going to fail. But the question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? You have to take full responsibility for your life and move forward. And if I know some of you guys, I've physically talked to some of you guys. Damn error message. I've physically talked to some of you guys either on the phone, Messenger, Skype, whatever, about wanting to make this business work and really wanting to push forward and be successful online and make, $10, $15, $20,000 a month. And, really it just comes down to just making that decision and moving forward and finding ways. So I hope you guys understand that. And that's kind of why we do that. So real quick, just going to do a couple introductions here. For those that don't know me, my name is Daniel Kump. I've been in the online marketing space for really, I got involved this past spring. But prior to that, I've been involved with network marketing for the last 15 years. I'm currently 39 years old. I live in Derry, New Hampshire. I'm here in my home office. And, I kind of, dipped my toes in the water. I dabbled a lot for a while for the first 15 years. I probably worked with like 3 different companies, had moderate success, made a few $100s a month here and there. But then back in the springtime, what I started doing is I kind of hit my wall. I went through my hundreds list and on the latest company that I was in, and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. So I turned to online. I turned to YouTube, and I ended up finding this guy who I thought like this guru, this dude. Turns out his name was Nick Anderson. I started following him, and I ended up joining him in one company. And then, again, just kind of dipped my toes in the water there. And then in June, he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, I got this new thing going on. You should check it out." So in July, I made the decision to join. And then, July 15th, I was sitting at my dining room table with my wife, and she had a stack of bills in front of her. I had a stack of bills in front of me. And just a quick, foreshadow there. Again, those that don't know my story, my son is almost 3 years old. And at this point in time, he can't crawl, he can't walk, he can't eat on his own. We feed him through a tube in his stomach. And, just a lot of challenges, and we don't know where life is going to take us. And one of the reasons why I made the decision, back on July 15th to actually go for it, to stop saying, I said, fuck it. I had my fuck it moment, and I decided to go for it. And I decided to go all in. And ever since then, I started promoting the business in August. And, since then, I've been having success. I've grown my YouTube channel. I've grown my email marketing list. I've started to have 4-figure days where I've made over $4,000 in one day. And, at the end of the day, guys, I'm just a dude from New Hampshire. And all I did is I made the decision. I plugged into a system, and, I followed a leader, someone that was having success. And you know what, guys, if I can do it, you can do it. So at this point, Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you. Why don't you give yourself a quick introduction to the group, and then I'll take us through what we're going to cover tonight.
Excuse me. Sounds good, Dan. I appreciate that, brother. And, a couple things that you said too, I believe relates with the audience out there, because most of the people that are watching this, they think they need to be some guru or some, online marketing genius in order to succeed in their business. When in reality, they just need to follow people who are getting results. And when I was starting out, I wasn't a guru. I'm still not a guru to this day. If I were to claim I would be a guru, I'd be lying. I'm only 24 years old and just an average guy. But when I got started in this industry when I was 19, so I believe that, success, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes persistence on everything that you're doing. So when I was first starting out, I had just gotten out of my first year of college. It was actually my second year of college. And I was sitting there and I was just like, what am I going to do with my life? You have that decision, when you're younger, and some people are older, they're still trying to figure out what they want to do with their life, And I was at that crossroads where, do I continue through school? So it's like that. With that video that just played, you guys just watch, when I was sitting through class in school, it didn't really resonate with me, being there. And I couldn't picture myself, getting a degree and then getting a job and working my whole life. And I'm not here to down on jobs. I'm just up on opportunity, like Holton Bugg says. And when I was, done with college for my first year and I got started with network marketing, I got caught on the dream, I got caught in the vision, and I made the mistake of dropping out of school. I made that mistake. But here's the thing. When I decided that I was going to burn the boats and go all in, it allowed me to make that decision and commit and put in that persistent dedication. And after, a few years, 4 years, trial and error, a lot of failure, I remember my first company that I was in, it was a massive learning experience, and I believe that you don't win or fail. You either win or you learn. Okay. So I believe in that company. And even my second company was the companies that I learned. The first business, we built up a fairly large team of like 800, 900 people. I wasn't making a great income in it because if you know network marketing, for those of you out there that are familiar with the industry, you have to build multiple teams. So it's like one thing that I was good at was duplicating and building a big team. But the thing that I couldn't do personally was sponsor people. Okay. So I felt, and some of you out there might feel the same way, is that you are relying on your team to build your income. You might be able to sponsor a couple people, but then you're reliant on those people. The old saying, two who get two, and you expect it to turn into 1 million people in an organization in the network marketing niche. Well, it doesn't really work out that way. And if you've been with, your company for any period of time, longer than like 6 months, a year, then you realize that. So you kind of hit these crossroads, inside of your business, wondering, what do you do? Like, how do you, continue to produce? How do you continue to build a team without getting burnt out, without going through like the saturation myth, burning through your friends and family, even like going on social media and seeing all these leaders out there that are preaching one thing, doing another, but it's just this confusing world that stacks up and it overwhelms people to the point where they're so afraid of taking action that they don't even do anything. So we want to compel you guys, and we want to give you some information that's going to help you distinguish all the stuff out there that is kind of like, a little bit wishy-washy, and the stuff that you need to be focusing on, okay, in order to build your brand, to build your business, to build your team, to build your income, and overall grow a bigger list in a, larger organization, okay? Because that's what we're here for, and whether you're in like network marketing, affiliate marketing, you're doing e-commerce, maybe you're in real estate, some of the principles that we're going to talk about tonight are applicable for any business, okay? So whether you're like 18 years old, or like I say, 108 years old, it's never too early or never too late to do something different and to start applying some things in your business, okay? So we're going to be going over some good information with you guys, when it comes to direct response marketing. But Dan, do you just want to kind of like break it down for them really quick on everything that we're going to be covering? Because we got a lot of value for you guys tonight.
Yeah, I would say we have so much value tonight, Nick, that we're going to melt some faces off, dude. Don't ask me why. It's just a Nick and I thing. No one else gets it, but that's all right. Anyway, yeah, listen. So yeah, let me take you through the agenda tonight. But real quick before we do that, man, I see we have we got almost 150 people on here, which is pretty awesome. So do me a favor, just let me see. Throw where you're from in the comment box. So you guys should all have a chat box on your screen. Just throw a comment as to where you guys are from. I know I can just tell by some of the names here, we got some people from all over the place. But so let's hear that. And while you guys do that, so what we talked about when we announced this webinar for the weekly webinar series here. Oh man, holy shit, you guys are blowing it up. Florida, Washington, Miami, Colorado, Texas, Netherlands, St. Louis, Georgia, Germany. Oh, we got a German here. Woohoo! Louisiana, Singapore, South Dakota, New Jersey. Man, you guys are from all over the damn place. All right, awesome. Love it, love it. Fort Worth, Argentina. Man, Nick, you seeing this? Blowing it up.
I actually can't see the chat box right now. That's gonna work.
You can't?
Yeah, I'll click around on my end and see if I can figure that out.
Yeah, it's blowing up, dude. People from
awesome though. That's good to hear.
James from Pennington, New Jersey. What's up, James? We got Terrell from Utah, Toronto, Providence, P-Town. What's going on in P-Town, Providence? Not to be confused with P-Town and Cape Cod, Compton, California. Man, you guys are from all Colombia. Man, you guys are from everywhere. UK. Steve Rowe, what's going on, dude? All right. Well, listen, man, thank you guys so much for joining us. I know that Nick and I really enjoyed having these webinars for you guys and try to give you guys as much value as possible. So what we did when we announced this is we had talked about the steps to 6 figures using direct response marketing. So a lot of times when you hear the term, direct response marketing, not a lot of people might know what that is. But some of the things we're going to cover tonight is, first off, what is direct response marketing? And obviously how that applies to you and how you can use direct response marketing to make 6 figures a year, hell, even 6 figures a month. Okay. And Nick, in the last 30 days is pushing up over $50,000 in just 30 days. So, I mean, if he can do it, I can do it, you can do it. So stay tuned. We're going to break all that down for you guys. Okay. We're also going to talk about what it means to have a mentor and a coach. And, that's a very important thing for me. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to go all in, because I did have a coach. I had someone that I could bounce ideas off, someone that literally just kind of pushed me and encouraged me to do more. And also, help from a mental standpoint too, that encouraged me, that, hey man, you can do this, you got this. So coaching is very important. Training, making sure that you guys have the right training to have the right success. Man, you guys are still going. Malaysia, Colombia, Stamford, Connecticut. Awesome. Being able to plug into a proven system and being able to use a system, because a lot of times, and just as an example, when you guys that are familiar with network marketing, sometimes you come on board, you join a company, and then you're just completely lost. There might be a structure in place, and there might be like, there's a back office, or there's like, there's the organization that you can look up to, and you can be like, okay, cool. There's Amway, there's It Works, there's Mary Kay, there's Vima, all these other companies like that. There's like the umbrella there, but there isn't really like a system that you can plug into to really learn and get trained and have somebody kind of coach and teach and train you along the way to make sure that you're doing it right. A lot of times in those other opportunities out there, you're kind of just fending for yourself. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, about keeping your message simple, and also about keeping your activities and your daily activities and your daily routine. If you can develop a good, solid daily routine, and it can be a simple daily routine, it doesn't have to be complex. The money is in your activities, the money is in your routine, and you want to keep your channel focused on, the prize, the light at the end of the tunnel, and not get pulled away by the big, dangling shiny object of, hey, here's a cool opportunity over here. Hey, here's a cool opportunity over here. And, oh, that one looks easy. That one looks easy. Maybe I'll try this one. Maybe I'll try this one. Next thing you know, you're trying 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10 different opportunities. You fail at all of them, and then the whole industry sucks. So it's about narrowing your focus down, getting good at one thing, then moving on to the next. And lastly, obviously, is the follow-up piece. You want to be able to follow up with the people that are interested in your business, the people that are joining your business, and just your daily follow-up routine with your business itself, making sure that you're doing the things you need to find success. So we're going to cover all that tonight, and I hope you guys get some really crazy-ass value. Hopefully you guys have a pen. Hopefully you guys have some paper, and you guys can take some notes. And then at the very end of this, guys, we're going to do a Q&A. We're going to open up, and we'll be answering all your questions as we do every week, and try to get you guys the information you need to kick some motherfucking ass in your business. Boom. All right. So Nick, my man, why don't you tell everybody about direct response marketing, and what is direct response marketing?
Definitely, man. And that was a solid intro, man. You crushed that. But yeah, so I'll give you guys like a background, and then kind of how I transitioned into learning about this, and the reason why I'm doing direct response marketing and I'm teaching it. And same thing with Dan, same thing with all of our students and other people out there online that see the true power into it. Okay. So when I was first in the industry, it was all offline marketing, right? From 2012 to 2013, it was all the traditional stuff that you're taught to do, through the home events, the cold prospecting, reaching out to family and friends. So doing all of that stuff, it definitely works, but I saw it is too slow and too inefficient for the way society was heading in the technology era. Okay. I saw that it worked, and it was proven to work, and we made it work. But at the same time, I'm always thinking of ways to improve things. Okay. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing without getting distracted. Okay. Improving based on principles. And that's what I'm going to kind of cover over the next couple minutes. Because there's certain things that people believe work just because it's that strategy, when in reality, it's not the strategy that works. It's the principle behind the strategy that makes the strategy work. So when it comes to like home events, for example, it's not the home event that works. It's the principle, which is exposure, getting people in one area to hear a presentation. Okay. It's the same principle behind having a sales video online. So one kind of aha moment that I had was when my upline in my first business, which was Vima. Okay, some of you have heard of it. It's no longer, open anymore for distributorship. But when I was in that business, when I was younger, and I'm still young, but at the same time, when I was 19, my upline, he was like doing constant calls, 3-way calls nonstop, and he was one of the elite in the company, and he was killing himself on calls to the point where he said, man, you know, this is like, I have to hop on a call for 30 minutes and tell my story over and over and over again. And I don't know about you guys, but you can only do that so many times before you feel like you're going to go insane and like Hulk smash the phone, like, or punch through your computer screen with how many Skype calls you do. Like when we were doing like 20 Skype calls a day, that's still not a lot. And it was still brutal. And I know people out there that do like 50 calls a day. Like if you want to do like 20, 30 calls a day, there's only so long you can take of that, unless you're just like crazy, like motivated to keep crushing calls, you know. But at the same time, he made a video and he recorded that video, and it was about an 8-minute video telling his story. And what happened was, whenever he would get hit up for a 3-way call inside of his business, is he told his team member, he said, hey, show this to your prospect first, and then I'll hop on a call with him afterwards. Okay, so what happened was, when they watched that video, his video was just him talking on his couch, like in his house, right? It was no fancy studio. He made it on his iPhone. And when the people watched the video, what happened after this was unbelievable. When they hopped on the call with him, they immediately had the buy-in factor. And if you don't know what the buy-in factor is, it means that they bought into what he's saying before he started speaking. And for example, when you guys go through school, there's certain teachers that you buy into. There's certain teachers that you don't. The teachers that you don't, those are simply the classes that you fall asleep in the back. You're just like not paying attention. The classes that you buy in are the teachers that are really fun, that are really cool, that you like, trust, and respect. So when they were hopping on calls with him, they already felt like they knew him. Okay. And when he would start talking, he wasn't pitch fest. It was more of a Q&A. So he said, you saw the video? They're like, yeah. He's like, awesome, man. Do you have any questions? Are you ready to get started? And that shortened his call down from like 15 minutes down to 30 seconds. And then a Q&A from that point of however many questions they had. Usually it was like 4 or 5 objections that you just had to overcome. And then you close them into the business. And his team grew rapidly from that, like shot over 5,000 people, got over 10,000 people and everything. And then all of a sudden it just started to expand and grow. And I saw that and I was like, how could I take that same concept that he did there and increase it on a more massive scale? And then I saw social media platforms out there like YouTube, right? Where you could create videos and put content, do webinars and recordings and stuff, and have them out there for the rest of the lifetime that you're in this industry, right? For the rest of the lifetime that you're online. And I started following all these other people like Gary Vaynerchuk. I started following Eric Worre, the network marketing niche. And there's a lot of other people out there, okay, that are doing this, that are diving into this stuff. And one guy in particular, his name was Mike Dillard, and he started teaching about direct response marketing. And, you know, I didn't understand it at first because I was so used to word of mouth advertising. And I'll explain the difference between the 3 types of marketing here in a bit. But I just want you guys to understand, okay, that you don't have to be an expert to understand all this stuff, right? You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start in order to be great. You know, I was going through elementary school. I was put in the slow reading classes, the slow writing classes, because I could barely like read and write, you know? And so I was held back for that. And it, you know, I could have used that as an excuse, like, well, I'm never going to make it in copywriting and sales and advertising or anything, because that's all reading and writing, right? You know, you have to be able to write effective copy if you're going to create ads and stuff online. So I was like, I didn't use that as an excuse. Okay. So I got past that. But once I started getting into business, you know, I made some big mistakes. You know, a big mistake that I made that Dan will kind of touch on a little bit later is I had no mentor. I decided to try and do it all on my own. Okay. So the reason why it took me 4 years, you know, to finally start getting like real results that, like, you know, a lot of people out there that take like 20 or 30 years, you know, take, is just because I didn't humble myself, you know, and I thought I could do it all on my own. Okay. Which was the biggest mistake I could have made. Not only that, but I didn't plug into a proven system at the start. I was trying to reinvent the wheel and create certain things until I figured out that it was the principles is what was making the strategies work. Like I was constantly jumping from strategy to strategy to strategy, thinking that it was going to be Twitter that was going to work, thinking there was going to be article marketing that was going to work, thinking that I was going to like pay people in different countries to write blog posts for me and stuff that was going to work. When in reality, it was like, you know, I needed to focus on 1 or 2 strategies and apply certain principles behind those strategies to get results. So pretty much that's what I did, right? And I started learning about direct response marketing. After I started like applying it, taking action on a consistent basis, you know, I was able to build up, you know, 5 leads per day. Then it went to 10 leads per day, then 20, then 30, then 40, over 50 leads per day. And I started generating over 100 leads per day. And I mean, since within the past, what is it, like, I don't even know how many months, but right now on my current list building software, I have a list of over 20,000 people. And it's like I send out an email with the click of a button and send it out to 20,000 people. Now, when I was first getting started in the industry, I couldn't even imagine that. It's like, I don't even know, I'm not even friends with more than 50 people. It's like, hell, I'm only even friends with like 5 or 10 people, right? Imagine, think about how many people, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you know what? We got some people over in the comment box that are saying that they can't see you, they can only hear you.
Oh, hold on.
But I noticed that when just for a second there, when you were talking, you actually took up the full screen. But right now,
Okay, now they see it apparently. Huh,
all right, can you guys see Nick now when he talks? Go ahead and talk, Nick.
Hey, yeah, I think Google has a way of picking up like voice and audio too. That's why I was giving you that error message with that EA Prince video. Okay, sweet. We're all good now.
All right, yeah. Now they're saying they can see you. All right, now we're good.
Okay,
Because
awesome,
everyone was
awesome.
having a
Yeah,
stare at me while
let me
you were
know
talking.
if, let me know if it jumps back and forth again, and I'll slow down from ranting. But pretty much, you guys just kind
Although
of
someone did drop a comment that they liked my mug, so that's about as badass as you get right there.
That's awesome. There you go, my man. Sweet,
All
sweet.
right, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no problem. But to wrap this kind of and put it all together for you guys, as I started seeing social media exploding and I started jumping into doing, YouTube marketing on Instagram, marketing on Facebook, and I kept it to those three things. And I wasn't, so I'm not a big guy in Twitter. I don't use Snapchat for business. I understand that there's a lot of people out there that will preach that strategy is the best. And what happens is people start to believe, oh, the strategies that I'm using right now isn't working, so I got to jump to this. So they jump from social media. And not only do they jump from company to company to company, thinking that it's the company that's going to make them successful, but then once they're in the company, they jump from strategy to strategy to strategy because they think that's going to make them successful. And when they keep doing that, they don't realize that there's principles behind it. And then there's certain things that they need to start doing. Okay. So when I figured this out, I haven't figured it out fully. I'm still learning, but I figured it out to a point where I've been able to get better results than I was getting in the start. Okay. Cause I remember I was barely making, like $600 a month for like the first year in my business and everything. And I had months where I'd made like nothing, and it was just really frustrating because I was spending more than I was making, right? It's like I had to pay rent, I had to pay car payments, I had to pay, phone bill, I had to pay all the stuff, food and everything. And I was like, had to pay my auto ship, and I wasn't making enough to even support the lifestyle that I was living. So I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to be able to live the dream. I wanted to be able to have the time freedom and make the money at the same time, because I see so many people out there, we say they're preaching the dream, but they're living the nightmare, right? They're talking about time freedom, but they're constantly away from their families. They're constantly, grinding nonstop. And while I respect the grind, and I understand that you have to grind in order to get results, but the efforts and the way that they were doing it was counterproductive towards the lifestyle that they were preaching, if that makes sense. So for example, people would be like constantly on the road driving all over the place. Like I met this one guy, he built pretty big teams, but he did it all through like driving all over the place. And it's like, if you guys have ever driven to an event that's like 45 minutes away and have ever had a no-show before, you know how frustrating that can be, right? Because time is the most precious commodity. I mean, you can always get more money, right? But you can't get your time back. So if you're wasting time with different strategies that aren't working for you, then you're going to continuously get frustrated until you get burnt out. Okay. So when I started discovering Mike Dillard, this one guy right here, and he started talking about direct response marketing, all these other gurus like Jay Abraham out there, if you guys ever listen to him, he started going over this. He pretty much broke down the whole philosophy behind it. And so basically I want to break it down for you guys. All right. So there's 3 different types.
Hey, Nick.
Yep.
Let me just chime in here for 1 second before you get into Dillard and obviously the effect that he's had, because the guy's, he's kind of like I guess you can kind of like the oracle of online marketing almost. But one of the things I just wanted to go back into a point that you had made earlier about, kind of staying focused, and it's so easy to get pulled away into something else. And like we had talked about earlier, that shiny object of getting pulled into different types of marketing. And some people use solo ads to drive leads and sales. Some people use Facebook advertising. Some people do organic marketing. Some certain people do a lot of different things. Okay, but what we have to realize is you guys are like that close. If you're not having success yet, and I say yet, you're that close sometimes, because the degrees of separation between not having success and having success is very, very small. So if you guys are using, I'll just give you guys a couple examples, like certain systems like Nick and I use, either like Online Sales Pro or Digital Altitude, those are both really beautifully designed systems that work very, very well. And there's not much that's separating you from basically where you're at now to where you need to be. It's just being able to take something and tweak it But again, staying focused on just one or two things and getting good at them. So, just as an example, I know, I was talking to somebody earlier about Facebook ads, and the price that they were getting for the Facebook ad versus where they need to be, and it's just a matter of tweaking and just until you get it right. And sometimes you got to play around. Sometimes you got to split test 2 or 3 or 4 or 50 Facebook ads until you get it right. But you know what? Eventually you're going to get it right. And when you spend money on advertising, you guys got to realize that you're not losing money. You're gaining knowledge of what does and does not work. Okay. So just be clear on that. When you spend money on advertising, you're learning what does and does not work. So it's not a waste of money. Although, yeah, trust me, I get it. I've wasted thousands on solo ads. So I get it, but I learned what didn't work. I shifted my attention to something else, and I got good at that. And I also, found a partner that could help me through that. So now that one thing is working really well. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. So back to Mike Dillard.
Definitely, man. And what you said was gold too, because a thing that just came into my mind that Tony Robbins said is, those tiny little tweaks that are to get you to destination. It's like you're golfing, right? I mean, if you see someone, a professional golf swing, it's like a fluid swing, they hit it perfect. Then you see someone else, it's like they could have a good swing, but at the same time, it's that little tweak of the wrist, that little tweak of the club that determines the trajectory of the ball, like 100 yards, 200, even 300 out. If you guys see it, it'll go like this, and then someone ends up all the way over here, but yet someone's on track, and they look at that person that's on track and they're like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? I'm doing everything that they're doing, but it's these little tweaks in what you're saying. It's these little tweaks in how you say it and the little copywriting that you have. So not only do we want to teach you guys the principles, but we want to teach you those little tweaks to kind of get you on par to where you're going to be able to, hit that straight shot. So when it comes to, direct response marketing, that's one strategy in the principles behind it. Okay. But it's by far one of the best strategies that I found. Okay. And so there's 3 types of marketing. So if you guys want to write these down, I'm just going to kind of touch on each real quick and give you examples just so it paints the picture. And so you guys really understand what I'm talking about here. Okay. And understand that every single one of these are really, really important. Okay. The first one is mass marketing, and it's branding. Okay. We've all heard of it before, building your brand, right? And pretty much the whole goal of this and everything is you're just constantly keeping yourself in your target market's face. Okay. In their unconscious mind. You're just unconsciously everywhere, right? And you're using either free or you're using paid strategies, to promote your content and your brand as well as your product and service out there. Okay. So there's some pros and cons to this though. So the pros, you'll be perceived as an expert, as an authority, unconsciously. Okay. So when people are constantly seeing your face, they also perceive you as a celebrity. And this is interesting. This is going back to what I was telling you guys earlier. When my friend was making those videos, when people would hop on the call with him, after they'd watched his 8-minute YouTube video, they were starstruck. They're like, oh my God, this is him. Even though he made the video from his house sitting on his couch, right? It wasn't a professional production. So when people hopped on, they unconsciously associated him as an authority and as a celebrity, right? So they had that buy-in factor. Okay, so that's the principle behind why this works so well. So when you're doing branding and mass marketing, this is really important because you're going to be able to build that authority factor within your marketplace. Okay, but the cons of this is it takes a lot of time, right? You got to put in that grind, you got to put in that effort, you got to be willing to, take the photos, make the videos, write the ads, do all that stuff, or you have to have the money to be able to invest in the paid advertising to build up your brand. Okay, so there's a sacrifice regardless. You just have to determine what sacrifice are you willing to make in order to build up your brand and to hit your goals, right? So it's either a time or a money sacrifice and a combination of both because you do have to learn some skills, okay? So the whole goal is, the more times that you run an ad, the more content that you put out there, the more bricks that you lay that stack up to a giant wall, you're going to have, more influence in the marketplace. For example, like Ty Lopez, right? He's everywhere. He was doing like those Here in My Garage videos, and he was combining both massive branding with direct response. Okay. So I want to explain the difference. But first, an example of mass marketing, you guys, would be Coca-Cola, right? So outside of the network marketing industry, they're doing TV commercials all the time. And it's just, hey, drink Coca-Cola, drink Coke. They're giving no crystal clear call to action, like go to this website to buy Coke. you know? So they're giving no call to action. They're just like, Coke's the best. Here's a polar bear to make it look appealing, right? Here's people sipping it like, well, they're on a roller coaster or in the theme park or whatever it may be, frolicking through metals, right? So they try and make it look good. And so unconsciously, people think of Coke as the drink to drink. It's like, you know, you got Coke and you got Pepsi, right? Back in, I believe it was like the 50s or the 60s, Coca-Cola came out with the new Coke, you know, to compete with Pepsi, because Pepsi was a new and emerging company that was just dominating at the time. So what happened was they came out with the new Coke and it completely tanked. It did terrible. You know, no one liked it. And it pretty much just caused this buzz where everyone was talking with everyone, saying how bad it was. And they lost millions and millions and millions of dollars of producing that. In fact, countries, like people were literally so disappointed that they were shipping in old Coca-Cola bottles from countries that were a little bit late to the scene and didn't have new Coke, just so they could get the old Coke because they didn't like it that much. Okay, so they got some bad rep for that. So that kind of brings me to the second type of marketing, which is word of mouth, right? So when you build a brand, you'll either have positive word of mouth or negative word of mouth. And people say that word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing. And it is in a way, because what happens is it's allowing others to do the marketing for you by recommending your brand or your product or service because you're a trusted authority in that niche, okay? So the pros and cons of word of mouth, which is the second type, is the pros, it's free advertising, right? So it's free exposure, right? You don't really have to do anything other than build up your brand to the point where people are talking about you, okay? So word of mouth kind of like comes secondary when it comes in terms of other people talking about you. Word of mouth about your product or service is like what people do in the start when they're going out there and they're sharing it with people. So the cons of it, you know, you have to build up your credibility in order to get people talking positively about you. And it also can have a negative effect, you know, where you have reverse word of mouth. So for example, McDonald's, okay? So when McDonald's was booming, they were growing quick. Everyone knew that their food was garbage. Like it was just like packaged plastic that people are eating, just not good for you. So I mean, it tasted good, you know, to some people. I can't stand the taste of it now. I used to be able to stand it, but people were scarfing that stuff down until they realized how unhealthy it was for you and your kids. And then what happened was people started like telling others about how bad it was. And then all of a sudden McDonald's started to like implement the salad bar and like these salads and all this stuff. And so they were just getting negative recommendations from other people. And, you know, a few of the McDonald's in my area closed down because of such bad word of mouth in our area to where no one eats there anymore. So they had to close down because they weren't making enough money. All right. So another example is a movie, right? You know, if you see a preview to a movie, they hype it up like Batman versus Superman. Okay. I saw that and I was like, this looks awesome. This is going to be like the superhero movie of the century. And then, you know, a few of my friends saw it before I did. And I talked to them. I was like, how was it? They're like, it was terrible. You don't want to go see it. Now, obviously, I mean, you could think it was great or bad. Doesn't matter. But they told me it was terrible. And because they're my friends, it's like, yeah, I'll see something else. I'm not going to see it. So I still haven't saw that movie to this day. So negative word of mouth can have a reverse effect, okay? So there's ways to counteract that, right? And some good people that, you know, I study and that relate within this industry is like, you know, Eric Worre, for example. People are always recommending his webinars, his products, his trainings. Ray Higdon, same thing. People are always recommending Ray Higdon's stuff, you know, because he's like the guru with, you know, dealing with like real estate leads and like other attraction marketing stuff and, you know, confidence and everything pretty much because the guy's a beast. You got Todd Falcone, right? He's another one. You know, he spoke at one of our second company's event on stage because he was recommended, you know, word of mouth, right? So he's recommended. Gary Vaynerchuk, right? The guy's an absolute animal. Jim Rohn. You know, everyone in network marketing recommends his trainings. I'm always sending people to, you know, the magic of part-time, you know, his analogies that he gives with the setting the sail, better thinking, okay? So word of mouth is very, very powerful. But the last is direct response. And this is what I really want to focus on and drive the point home to you guys, because this is basically designed, okay? It's designed in a way where you're going to evoke an emotional response from your audience, right? Because people make buying decisions on emotional responses, not logical responses. Okay. They buy emotionally and then they justify their purchase with logic. Okay. So you, with direct response, you trigger both the emotional triggers through sales psychology and logistical, you know, reasonings why behind they made the best decision of their life when they purchased your product. Okay. So when you learn how to combine both together, it's even more empowering of a message, okay, even more empowering of a product, okay? So when you're evoking that emotional response, right, you're compelling your prospect to take some sort of specific action, okay, such as, for example, opting into your email list, right? Opting into your capture page, going to your website, clicking the link, you know, watching a video for more information, being directed to a sales page where they place an order. Okay. And what happens is when you're combining, you know, the word of mouth aspect and you're combining the mass marketing and branding, when people go to watch the sales video, sometimes they'll just sign up without even watching the video because your brand is that massive. Okay. Now, if you don't have a brand build at all, direct response still works if you have the compelling enough sales video. Okay. So this is getting back to the principles here. Okay. So the pros of it is it's trackable, right? You can track your leads, which means if you can track your leads, you can track your sales, so you can measure it, right? So it's measurable as well. And if what you can track and you can measure, you can scale. And by scaling, I mean, you can get it from $5,000 per month, $10,000 per month, $20,000 per month, 30, 40, 50, even over $100,000 per month. And I understand for some people out there that might sound too good to be true. For me, it did when I was first starting. I was like, man, $100,000 a month, like what the hell? Like people like that are 60 years old don't even make that a year, like what I'm used to in my town. I'm just like, I'd be like the mayor of my town if I was making that. What are you talking about here? How's that possible? But then I realized there's people on YouTube, 16-year-old girls, okay, 16-year-old girls that make over $100,000 per month doing reviews on like makeup or like dolls, or like there's people that literally, this lady that will like make videos of herself opening up children's toys and it's just of her hands and she makes a full-time income doing that. Okay. So it's pretty insane, like the amount of opportunity that's out here, you guys. So whether you want to apply this and you're just like the type of person that wants to like open children's packages and film it, you can do that. Okay. So the sky's the limit here. All right. So the cons of it though. So there are some cons here. Okay. So I want you guys to understand the pros and cons of each so you can overcome them. Okay. The cons are if you don't track, you can't scale. Okay. So if you don't know, how many leads you're generating, through your sales funnel, what your video's converting at, then it's going to be difficult to scale. Okay. And sometimes even set up. It's a little bit of a process to set up, but here's the thing. Once it's set up, then it's set up for life. I want you guys to understand this. Okay. It's not another wheel that you're running on to constantly maintain your income. Okay. It's something that you set it and then you just keep stacking bricks to make your income larger. Right. I'll give you an example here. Okay. I went to Hawaii. Before Hawaii, I went to Vegas for like 3 days for our company's event. And during those 3 days, I wasn't doing any marketing that much other than posting pictures here and there on social media, which isn't really grinding. You're just posting pictures, showing what your lifestyle's like. And what happened was during that event, I was making sales during that event because of the process that I had set up through direct response marketing, right? And then after Vegas, I got home and immediately a day later, I flew out to Hawaii. I was in Hawaii for a week. While I was there, I was making sales on a daily basis. And I wasn't really doing anything other than like swimming, filming with my GoPro, trying to find sea turtles, right? And it's like, so I wasn't grinding. I wasn't on calls nonstop and everything. And I could have been, but I wanted to maximize my time and make the most efficient use of it. Okay. For, marketing later. So what happened was I had these bricks out there and I had this marketing material that was allowing me to generate leads and sales and build, an effective list. Okay. So I'll give you guys an example here on who does this. Okay. So who does direct response marketing, right? Even outside of this industry. Okay. I want you to think of Amazon.com, right? Everyone knows it, right? Amazon, is massive. It's huge. Amazon's like even bigger than eBay, right? eBay started growing too. So eBay does this as well. They both do it, right? So when you create an account with Amazon, what do they ask for? Your name, your email address, your password, right? Why do they ask for an email address, right? Why not just a username and password? Well, they ask for an email address so they can follow up with you, so they can do direct response marketing, okay? And whenever you purchase a product, or if you're even thinking about purchasing a product, based on what you look at, they'll send you emails saying, hey, we're having this sale, this holiday special, or because you looked at this, you might also be interested in this. Here's a recommended product that you might be interested in it. Here's a link to purchase it. Okay, so that's direct response marketing. Nike does it as well. If you go to their website, you subscribe to their list, they'll send you constant emails, right? Okay, so inside of this industry, Eric Worre, he's the biggest example I can think of. He has his Network Marketing Pro email list. For those of you that are on it, his emails are very simple. They're just like re-engaging you back with his content to build his brand. So it's combining all three. Eric Worre combines all three of these. Same thing with Gary Vaynerchuk, same thing with all these gurus. So you can, here's the thing I want to drive home. You can succeed with just direct response marketing, but at the same time, if you want to excel and grow your brand and build something that's long-term, you do want to combine the best of both worlds, okay? So before we get into like what we're using for direct response marketing, the tools and the software and all that technical stuff, I want to toss it back over to you, Dan, because you obviously have some really good input on this as well. And I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm getting a little dry mouth here.
a little parched.
Yeah.
That's right. as around here in Boston, we say he's a little parched. He's wicked parched guy. Thank God I don't talk like a Bostonian, although I'm from Boston and I love the city. Don't get me wrong. I just think the accent is horrible. Anyway, I've worked for years to get rid of it. You said one crucial thing a little while back. I was going to cut you off, but you're on your Nick Anderson tangent, so I just let you go. But so you talked about the fact that people buy based on emotional decisions, and I want you guys to think of that when it comes to your advertising as well. So if you guys are going to set up, whether it be through Online Sales Pro or Digital Altitude or whatever your business is, if you're using a sales funnel and a capture page to, or even a marketing video, and you want a lead, you want to try to get a lead for your business, people buy based on emotional decisions. So I used this I think a couple of weeks ago on our webinar, and I had talked about the hypnotic story structure, where I basically tell my story, okay? And it's a story about my family and, my son and the struggles that we go through. And then the fact that, despite all of that, I still made the decision to go in on my business. I still was able to, find the time to work my business every single day. After we put our son down to bed, I would come up and literally in this office right here, for just 45 minutes to an hour a night, I would just kind of plug away at my business. And, the actual plugging away was either, making a video, sending out an email, following up on the leads that I had got, just little things like that. And I kind of share that story. And then at the end of it, I kind of share some of the results that, by doing that, by staying consistent, and by battling through everything that I've dealt with in my life and my family's life, I've still been able to find success. So in doing so, I kind of share that emotional response with the audience that's reading my story, and people feel compelled to want more information. And that's when people reach out to me and say, hey, tell me more about what you're doing. How did you do it? What did, tell me about it. And then I'll either get them some information, I'll strike up a dialogue, but you just realize that people are going to be drawn to you based on the story that you can tell. And even Gary Vaynerchuk says, guys, you need to be a good storyteller. And, you're not always going to need to write this big, long story, even if it's just, even if you're just marketing this quick 1 or 2 sentence thing, have some kind of emotional connection in there. And sometimes that emotional connection is money, because emotionally we are connected to money, because, money isn't everything, but it's nice, right? It's nice to have. So, think about that. So as you guys are marketing, as you guys are putting your capture pages together, as you're putting your stories together, as you're putting videos together, and you want people to basically at the end of the day, guys, you want people to be interested in what you're doing. But why should they be interested? Why is anyone, I'll be blunt, I'll be direct. Why should anyone give a shit about you and what you're doing? And as direct as that is, you kind of need to think on that level. So if I'm going to make a video and I'm going to put it on YouTube, or if I'm going to write a story and create an ad on Facebook, if I'm going to put a video on Facebook and, as into an ad, how am I going to connect with people? How am I going to provide value? And how am I going to get in touch with somebody else's emotions? How am I going to hit that trigger? How are you going to hit that trigger when you do that? So just food for thought, guys.
Definitely. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, you guys. I mean, I can't remember who exactly phrased this. It's probably something taught through sales long ago, but there's different personality types, and they call them colors, right? You got like red is very aggressive. They respond to challenges. So when you challenge people through your marketing, like, I bet you can't do this, those are the type of personalities that respond to that and like feed off of competition, right? So they competition mode. You have people that are green, right? So green is like, they're money motivated. They're more analytical, right? So there's people, when you're talking numbers, they need to see numbers, right? They need to see it broken down. And that concept is like, okay, what conversions in order to how many leads, how much do I need to spend per lead and all this stuff. Those are the people that understand that. Then you have blue. Blue is like, very adventurous, very fun. They want to get out there. They want to experience the world. That's the personality type I am. Okay. So I'm a lot of blue because I want to travel, right? I want to have time freedom and go all over the place. Okay. So when you're talking about being able to travel, live the lifestyle of your dreams, it attracts those types of people. Okay. Then you got yellow. Yellow is all about like helping others, right? You know, leaving a larger impact. So I believe each person isn't one or the other. You can have traits of each. So you can be partially yellow, partially blue, and partially red. But if you learn to speak on every single color in your marketing and throw out a little challenges there, talk about freedom, talk about helping people, you know, talk about the numbers as well, then what happens is you attract everyone. Okay. So you kind of are wrapping it all around. So when you do that through your direct response, that's how you can be able to generate, you know, as many leads as you want to, right? Based on how much content you have out there. So I want to talk just really, really quick on this about like the principles behind, you know, why direct response is working compared to traditional strategies, because there's three things that you really want to focus on when it comes to like online marketing specifically, right? As well as even offline. Okay. Number one is building your list. Okay. So you're building up your list. Number two is following up with your list, right? Number three is getting them to watch and rewatch a sales video by following up until eventually they buy, right? Closing the sale. Now, once they're in, you have some other things you want to do like culture building, team building and stuff, but we're talking about producing here. And the reason why we focus so heavily on producing is because if you don't produce, if you don't recruit, you don't produce. If you don't produce, you don't make any money. If you don't make any money, you can't support your family, you can't live the lifestyle of your dreams, right? So it all comes down to producing, selling a product. Okay. You don't get paid for anything else in this industry. So let's get right to the core here. Okay. And let's hit the nail on the head, right? You have to sell a product. So in order to sell a product, you have to build up your list. Okay. So there's different ways that you can build your list, right? Most people will tell you to write down a list of the people that you know at your church, your high school principal, right? People you went to college with, people in your fraternity, all that stuff. And the reality is, yeah, some of those people might jump in your business and start crushing it, but the majority have no interest in an online business whatsoever, right? They don't. And they might down the road at some point in their life. It's just not the right timing for them. But you guys have experienced this when you approach all these people on your list. The majority of them are like, that's too good to be true. That's a pyramid scheme. You know, why would I want to do that? And then you have to become really, really good at following up with them, getting them to an event, you know, right? Getting them to watch a sales video, which is getting them to see a live presentation. Pretty much. So the same principle here, right? And you follow up with them until eventually they make a decision to buy. Now, here's the thing. Most of those people, I'm just going to say they're flat out unqualified because they're not interested in it. And if you're not interested in something, there's going to be no passion behind it, right? So you want to attract people to you and you want to engage a target market that actually has an interest in making money online, that actually has an interest in what you're selling, whether you're selling a house, right? You're not going to approach all your family members and friends and say, hey, you want to buy a house? Hey, you want to buy a house? Hey, you want to buy a house? No, you're going to market in the niche, in the industry, in this section where people are looking for houses within that price range that can afford it, right? It's the same thing with an online business, right? I'm not going to market my network marketing business to people who hate network marketing, right? It's just counterproductive right there. Okay. So when it comes to building a list, you know, the first question you want to ask yourself is which target market is best for your product or service. Okay. That's the number one question. And if you're marketing like an online system, you know, for example, you know, we have Online Sales Pro as our front end offer, right? It's sort of like the central hub to the wheel, the bike tire. And the perfect target market for that is other business owners, whether those be network marketers, affiliate marketers, real estate, the list goes on and on, right? So when we have that target market, the next question you ask yourself is where does that target market hang out online? Are they on forums? Are they watching YouTube videos? Are they on Instagram? Are they all on Snapchat? Okay, now within this industry, they're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. So you just pick one strategy, right, that you want to get your brand, your word of mouth, your direct response ads out in front of them, okay? And when you're creating that stuff, you just create it based on the different personality types, that little quick example, as well as some other strategies that will kind of like segue off at the end of this webinar into you guys that you're going to learn through the system. But what happens is when you start putting out this content, people will want to be a part of your list. And as you start to give these compelling call to actions at the end of your pieces of content, based on what we've taught, you know, then what's going to happen is people are going to go to your sales funnel. They're going to opt in. And I'm going to screen record in a little bit, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean by that, but they're going to opt into your list. You know, they're going to want to learn more about what it is that you do. They're going to watch the sales video. And then if you do decide to hop on a call with them, right? I'm not saying that you have to be doing three-way calls all day long. If you want to, by all means, I'm not going to stop you. It'll just get you even more results, but it also take more time. So it's just, where do you want to invest your time? But when you hop on calls with people after they've seen a sales video, it's no longer, hey, what's up? What do you know about the business? Oh, they're like, oh, nothing. You're like, okay, well, let me take some time to explain it to you. And then you go off for 30 minutes to an hour telling your whole story, going all about the product, how great the CEO is, how you're all in momentum, right? And how it's going to change their life. And at the end of it, they're like, oh, I'll talk to my wife and I'll get back to you. And then you're just like, oh, man, that was an hour of my time, 30 minutes of my time. It's like, what am I doing? Instead, it's going to be, you hop on the call, hey, you saw the video, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, awesome, man. Do you have any questions about it, or are you ready to get started? And then silence, right? You give them two options, okay? So when I'm following up with people, I keep it simple, right? I don't, like, if I follow up with someone, if I were to call them or if I were to text them after they see a video, I'm not going to be like, hey, man, what'd you think? You like it or what? I'm just like, hey, you saw the video, right? Yep. Do you have any questions? You ready to get started? Just keeping it simple.
I think Eric Worre has a very famous line. If you guys have read his, or you probably see it on some of his trainings, or if you've read his book, Go Pro, he says one of the worst things you can do is that after people watch a video, or they listen to an audio or something like that, is to call them back or talk to them and say, hey, what'd you think? I think your point is spot on, Nick. After that, you just, if they do watch a good enough presentation, whether it be a video on YouTube or a webinar or anything, you just want to ask them that, do you have any questions? Or are you ready to get started?
And even if you do, even if they do want to ask, like, what do they think about it? The best thing you can ask is like, what do you like best about it? Because our minds naturally go to the negative. So if they ask what you think, people are going to be like, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a great idea, but how much does it cost again? Right? So then they're just like constantly going back to the negative of the limiting beliefs that are holding them back from taking action. But if you're just like, hey, what'd you like best? If you do decide to do that, they'll tell you what they like best. And then you can, talk about that aspect and why you love that as well. Right? So it relates with them on that aspect. And then as you transition to the close, whether it be through your emails or through phone call, right? It's the principle here. You give them two options. And when you give those two options, what happens is people are going to be, either ready to get started or they're going to have a few questions before they do. And you simply keep following up with all the leads that you're generating, all the people that are opting into your list until either, they unsubscribe or they stay on your list for a while until they buy, right? And you just keep building that rapport. You keep building that relationship, those two things right there. And Dan, I'm going to pass it off to you after I talk about this really fast, because this actually just hit me. And a lot of people out there think they need relationships in order to build a business. And here's the difference between this, okay? Because when you're marketing, it's not the relationship that will build your business. It's the relationship that will keep people in your business. Rapport is what initially builds your business in the start and what will initially build the sale. I'll give you an example, right? Steve Jobs, okay? You don't have a personal relationship with him. You've never talked to him in person. Maybe you have, I don't know. I could be, talking out my ass here. Maybe you've talked to him before, but the majority of us haven't, okay? But here's the thing. He has so much rapport that half of you right now are on a MacBook Pro watching this webinar, or you're on an iPhone listening to this, right? But you've never talked to him before. You don't know him personally. He's not your relative. He's not your family member, but he has so much rapport and he's built a big enough brand that you've bought something from him, okay? Now, in order to continue purchasing Apple products and to stick with it, he's built that brand and that trustability factor, which builds that relationship, which keeps you attached to his product long term. Okay, so if you guys want to become producers, you focus on building strong rapport. Okay, if you want to have a higher retention, you focus on building relationships. Okay, so that's just kind of like the difference between the two, because there's so many network marketers out there that confuse it. It's like, yeah, build relationships to build the business. It's like this just message that it's just a real wash down message, and no one really like dives down deep to the core of like the difference. And if you understand that, then it's even more compelling, you guys. So when you're building your team as well as when you're marketing out there too. So Dan, do you kind of want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah, I think honestly, that's going to be a really good segue to the next topic that we're going to talk about, which is coaching and mentoring and surrounding yourself with a strong community. But right before I get into that, we had talked briefly about objections and, asking specific questions like, what did you think about it? And that's another Eric Worre thing where he talks about not the what you think about it, but what did you like best about it? And that's a great response. And for those of you that are in network marketing or have been in network marketing, or really any opportunity that you're in right now, if you're having any kind of physical conversation with somebody, or even, in Messenger or text or whatever, and, you do get some kind of objections, obviously you want to gauge their interest level. But, there's a great response that actually Cesar Rodriguez has, and it's simple as this, and you guys can write this down, but it just says, Caesar says, are you looking for a way in, or are you looking for a way out? And as simple as that. And that's basically what that's going to do, is that's going to raise the bullshit detector. And really what you're going to find out there is if someone's just kicking tires and they just want, sometimes people comment back on the posts on the Facebook ads, and they're like, info, I want info. And then you try to get them the info and they really aren't even that interested. They're just kind of like going with the herd because everybody else is commenting info. So if people are really interested, you can say, hey, listen, like, are you looking for a way in, or are you looking for a way out? Is this something that you're really serious about? And if they say, yeah, you say, all right, great. Are you ready to get started? And then they could even channel into, well, how much does it cost? And let's just say, as an example, whatever your opportunity is, let's just say it's, $500 to get started, or it's $500 for something. We're just going to use a $500 for a number here. And you could ask them, all right, well, are you ready to get started? The entry level is $500, and then, we'll take you through the process from there. And they could be like, oh, well, I really don't have the money. Turn around, just ask them, say, well, how much do you have? If you can come up with anything, how much money can you come up with right now? Are we talking $10? Are we talking whatever? How much money could you possibly scrounge up to work towards the $500? And let's say they say, oh, well, I have $200 I can put towards it. So great. So we're really only talking about $300, not $200, and you can help them break it down. And there's a lot of other things that we could get into there, but lost my train of thought here for a second. But one of the questions that I asked somebody once too is, we're talking about, and this is, I'm going back a ways here, but just to share the story of the objections here, is somebody was talking about, well, I really want to join. I'm really interested, but I just don't have the upfront money to get started. And I think it was like $100. And I just said, okay, cool. Who do you love most? And they're like, what? I said, who do you love the most? I'm like, my husband. I love my husband the most. I said, great, cool. So if you're, let's say the police knocked on your door, there was a case of mistaken identity, and your husband got dragged away in handcuffs and then spent the night in jail, and you had to come up with $100 to get your husband out of jail, would you be able to come up with $100? And they're like, oh yeah, definitely, I'd find it somehow. I'm like, cool. So do you want to join or not? And so you got to think about it. People, when it comes to getting money, you can find the money. It's just whether they want to or not. So you can ask that question. Are you looking for a way in, or are you looking for a way out? All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about specifically is, and kind of transitioning from where we were, is building that trust and that rapport, is being able to have a mentor, have a coach, and being able to surround yourself in a positive environment, because that's one of the best ways. That, for me, I mean, sorry, I'm tapping my mic here. That for me is like one of the ways that I was able to, find success and really start getting some results. Because in my past, when I was in network marketing, you basically sign up, and some people have some really cool uplines, some really cool sponsors, but there's really nobody there to kind of take you through from the very beginning, walk you through all the training, walk you through the entire process, and like literally every step of the way to show you like how the back office works, what you got to click, where you got to go, how do you got to set your whole system up. So your whole online marketing system, from your sales funnels, your capture pages, your websites, how everything all works together. In most network marketing opportunities, or even other affiliate opportunities, you don't have those. You don't have that option. And I know in the specific opportunity that, one of the things that I'm talking about right now, like Digital Altitude, you actually have that coaching process. You have somebody that's going to take you through. And I know for me, that was one of the things that, I wasn't sure when I first signed up, but after I had gone through a couple of levels of training, and I actually talked to my coach. I think my coach called me, I think the same day that I signed up, and I already done like a level or two of training. And just as soon as I heard him on the phone, I was like, holy shit, this is real. Like somebody actually wants to help me be an online marketer. Like how fucking cool is that? Like this is really awesome. And then, so having that process in place for me has been extremely beneficial. And I know a lot of people out there need that. I've even had people reach out to me and say, hey, I need a mentor. I need someone that can walk me through or teach me these things because I'm sick of my 9 to 5. I'm tired of working, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hours a day. And I need this in my life because of my family, because of XYZ or whatever their why is. So having that for me, it has been extremely beneficial. And I think the other back half of that, and something that Nick, I know you do very, very well, and something that I also recently just started doing too, is giving people a community that they can belong to. So also, one part of this is having a coach to find success in online marketing. One thing is having a coach. The other thing is having a community. So I know you have lifestylepreneurs, which, basically anybody that's on any of your teams in Digital Altitude or Online Sales Pro, most of them are members of lifestylepreneurs. And for me, for the folks that are on my team, I recently started, my actual website is mysixfigurebusinessplan.com. So I created my 6-figure business page, and it's a page that people can go to get all their questions answered and to kind of be heard and talk about what they're working on. And also a place, same thing with lifestylepreneurs, where we can lift people up. We can acknowledge what people are doing. We can celebrate the wins. If someone, needs a lift up, we give them a lift up. So I think having a coach, having a mentor, and being part of a community is those are all things that, some of the things that, Nick, you and I provide, and the systems that we use provide those things as well. And I think if people just are able to, make that decision and take that first step, and actually take that first step and try, any of the opportunities that we're in, they're going to see that, we're here to help. We're here to support. We can plug them into a community. We can set them up with a coach. And those things are going to do nothing but benefit the person. So it's almost, I don't want to say it's almost hard not to find success, but I think if you do that and then you narrow down those degrees of separation that we were talking about earlier, and it's just a matter of time before you're going to find that one thing that's going to work for you, and you have all this help and support, I think it's, I think that you and I and our teams are really just heading in an amazing direction. And I can tell you one thing, that 2017 is going to be a pretty fucking awesome year. So I hope you guys are excited. And if you are excited for 2017 and you are excited for more webinars and to continue learning, continue building your team, I want you to blow up the chat box over here and just say fired up, because we're excited for you guys, and we're excited to keep adding value and helping you guys out as much as humanly possible. But Nick, I don't know if you want to chime in on more of the coaching or the
definitely,
or the community.
Yeah, I have a few points here. I want to kind of piggyback on what you were saying too. When people get started with a business, obviously it takes the marketing to be able to get them in. You have to have that rapport that I was talking about earlier. But when you finally start plugging them in with the system, the community, giving them support, it builds that relationship and it builds that community around it. So it builds that culture. Okay, culture is what's going to keep people around, as well as vision, right? When you're sharing a vision of where you see yourself going with the team in the future, people stick around. It's like in the Bible, it said, where there is no vision, the people will perish, right? So having vision is very important, you guys. But at the same time, it's like, there's certain things within your company that the company does, but as well as having your own little team thing. So for example, okay, so when our first business, Vima, they had the company, right? So there were like the company calls, the corporate calls and stuff to plug people into. But then what happened was the YPR, right, which was the Young People Revolution. Okay, so a movement within the company that allowed it to grow and expand very quickly. Okay, so whether you want to create, your own little brand name or a team brand name, I would say more on a team brand name level. Like, when I would create lifestylepreneurs, I wanted it to be for everyone because, everyone, wants to live a lifestyle, be an entrepreneur and, travel and be able to make money and live that dream life, So for those blue personalities, I'm marketing heavily towards, okay? Because that's what I am. And that's what I can relate with the most, right? So when you're marketing to those types of people and you bring them in, you plug them into your community, you can do like little webinars like this. And you don't have to be the best speaker in the world. In fact, when we were starting out, like if you guys were on our first webinar, it was pretty sloppy, right? And kind of all over the place, still a little all over the place. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're not perfect. People don't want perfection. They want realness. They want transparency and they want progress. Okay. So as long as they see that they're progressing, like Tony Robbins says, progress is the key to happiness. Every single person that's in this business right now, whether you realize it or not, you're doing this to find happiness, right? Doing it to find happiness. That's why people buy into businesses in the first place, because they think that what it's going to get them is happiness, right? It's like, I wish I could draw this out for you guys right now, but just to give you an example, it's like when someone's right here, okay, so they're in the lifestyle that they're living right now and they're not happy with it, right? When you position your marketing out there through direct response, right, or word of mouth or branding, whatever it may be, and you're talking about the possibilities, you're speaking your vision, okay, you're talking about, most people out there, they talk about their company, right? They just focus on their product or their service. They're like, my weight loss tea is the best tea ever. It'll help you lose so much weight. It's all this, it's great antioxidants, right? It's got like a whatever on the Orex score. Okay, we got this mangosteen juice in it and everything, like vitamins, aloe vera, minerals and stuff. Buy my juice. Okay, people see that and they're like, oh God, get out of here. It's another advertisement, right? I don't want to see this. Okay, what they really want is they want what's on the other side. They want what's over here. Okay, so they're on this side. They want to get over here. If all you're talking about your product, they just associate that as another like late night infomercial, where you're just trying to sell something. But if you're talking about, and you lead with, I want you to like, okay, so I'll give you an example here of how I would phrase this. I'm not going to go too in depth because you guys will get the point. But if I were to make a video, instead of saying like, hey, Nick here, I'm going to talk about my product and like pull the product up. And I've done this too, so I can relate with this, right? I want to talk about my product here. It's this great, amazing juice, protein powder. So for those of you that are in the gym, like drinking protein, and some of you guys are probably already starting to nod off, right? But instead, if I were to come on video, I'd be like, I want you to imagine just for a second with me what it would be like to be able to wake up on the beaches of Hawaii or Miami, okay? You walk down to the beach. You don't have to clock into your job, right? You have a beer in your hand as you're walking through the beach. You're with your girlfriend or boyfriend, feeling the waves come through, hit you on the feet. You feel your phone buzz, vibrate, you pull it out and you see new commission notifications and commission notifications and commission notifications coming in inside of your online business. Well, that's all possible inside this video. I'm going to show you how. Okay, so see the difference between the two. So instead of going my product, I go with the end result first of what they really want based on their personality. So if I would say, imagine waking up, your family is taken care of for the yellow personalities. Okay, so start with that instead. And then once I give the call to action and I start talking about the product, everyone is more engaged and they've bought in. Okay, so you have to get people to buy in first before you start going and you start pitching. Okay, so it's like these little things here that you guys start to learn as you keep plugging in, and it all boils down to just how much you're willing to invest as far as time into learning this. When it comes in terms of like education, Dan played the video when we first started this, how in school, how much time did you guys spend in classrooms throughout your whole life? Okay, I mean, kindergarten, first grade, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to high school. If you made it past high school, you start going into college. College is a whole nother process on its own, right? You're there for 8 hours a day in school, right? Granted, you have breaks, but at the same time, I don't remember like 80% of the stuff that I learned in school. When it comes to like history and stuff about like who won the Battle of Bunker Hill and all this stuff, like I don't remember any of that stuff because I didn't buy into it. I know some people out there that are interested in it and all that stuff, but when it comes in terms of like practical, applicable stuff that is going to benefit, in terms of like building a business, that's the stuff that I really want you guys to focus on, okay? So hold on one second. Okay, I'm just seeing like comments coming in right now. So, Yeah,
Oh,
with
good. You
that,
can see the comments now.
yeah,
Okay.
there we go. Okay, yeah, they're popping up, which is solid, solid. So yeah, we'll open up to a Q&A in a little bit, you guys. But when it comes in terms of like, you're wondering, okay, this all sounds great, right? This all is starting to make sense. It's all starting to click. There are some things that you guys will continue to learn, as being a part of our group and plugging in here and like hopping on these webinars down the road and, plugging in with the system as well. Because here's the thing, like we can teach you guys everything that we've learned, but where did we learn this from? Right? From plugging in with the system that teaches us how to do that. So when Dan was talking about digital altitude, like for those of you that haven't taken the $1 trial on that yet, see that as an investment in your education. $1, right? And if you do decide to continue with it, great. You get even more education, right? You get even more information that you can use for marketing and building a business for the rest of your life, right? If I would have learned, like I wish they would have taught this in school. Like if they had this in school, like Wealth 101, Wealth 102, I'd have taken both classes. It's like I would have jumped into those classes, right? But instead I was taking like archery and like canoeing and all this stuff, which was fun, don't get me wrong, but it's like I could have been making money doing that like I am right now, and it's like, it's just, all figuring out about what you want to do and incorporating that into your marketing. Okay. So when it comes in terms of like learning these skills, you guys, you plug in, you get started with the right team, you have the right mentor, you plug into the system, you go through the training, and you actually apply what you learn. And the reason why, and I'm going to pass it back to you, Dan, the reason why I love Digital Altitude is because when you do plug people in, they need coaching, they need support. And as you start to learn how to produce consistently, meaning that you're bringing in anywhere from 2 to 10 people per day, and some people are like, I wish I could do that per like month or even year, right? You start small, okay? You start with like 1 person per week in your business through these strategies, okay? And then you start to go to 1 per day and then 2 per day. As you start recruiting so many people into your business, start selling so many of your products, that it's going to be very, very difficult to micromanage every single person. So you're going to need coaches to step in and work with each person individually so you can maximize your results and maximize your time at the same time, okay? So you're not constantly on calls. And I'm sure you guys can relate where it's like you feel like you have to be customer support sometimes for your team members. Like you recruit a member, right? Adam gets into the business, okay? For those of you out there that name Adam, sorry for picking on you here, but Adam joins your business, okay? He's like, hey man, I'm having trouble logging in. I can't remember my username and password. Can you help me here? You're like, what is, I don't know what's your password? Like, what's your username? How am I supposed to help you here? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, I finally logged in. Okay, where do I click to go to this? How do I find this? How do I get that? And they're just constant, these questions. And it's like, understand that you do have to help people, but at the same time, you have to separate yourself from customer support and being, a sponsor that is actually going to help them and sometimes give them tough love, you know what I'm saying? Like a caterpillar, if a caterpillar goes into a cocoon and you come up and you start using scissors to snip it open to try and help it grow quicker, that's going to hurt it, right? Sometimes you have to let people struggle. Okay. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes people in your business, you have to let struggle a little bit, because it's going to allow them to build up that mental fortitude in order to break through that cocoon so they can become that butterfly. Okay. So there's so many of you out there right now that are in that cocoon, right? And you're going through a pretty gnarly phase. Like this is like a little tangent here real quick, but do we actually know what happens to a caterpillar as it's in that cocoon? Like that's probably a pretty gnarly process. Think about it. It's like eating itself. It's like, like what is going on in there, right? So some of you in your business, you're going through that right now. You're just like eating yourself alive. You're like, stupid. This isn't going to work. And you're just like getting pissed at yourself for, investing money and having it not work, having it not pay off. But at the same time, you're going through that metamorphosis process. Okay. And when you do have those coaches that connect with your new members, sometimes they give them a little tough love, but at the same time, they're there to support them through it. They're there to nurture them through the process. And when you have those members being supported, as well as you're building your own culture, your own community, it just excels even further. Okay.
All right. So, man, I got so many things going through my head, all good stuff though. All right. So just to go back to the system, and, for me, being able to having gone through, different network marketing companies in the last 15 years, I never really had something where I could just kind of plug into. I never really had a system. I never really had a coach that literally took me step by step through the process, or even had training steps to go through. And I think that's what appealed to me as far as digital altitude goes. And being able to go through that process obviously it got me to the point where I'm at today, and it helped give me the decision with my family to go all in, because once I took that dollar trial, and I want you guys to realize this, and a lot of you guys are in digital altitude, and some of you aren't, and I can see in the comment box here, some of you guys are saying, hey, what's DA or what's digital altitude? So, literally for $1, okay, and I'm explaining this to you guys, and some of you guys have heard this and some of you haven't, but also for the people that are gonna watch this webinar on YouTube and they're gonna see this, tomorrow, 6 months from now, whatever, for $1, literally $1, you get to work with a 6 or 7 figure business coach, somebody that's been in the online marketing space and made at least $1 million online in their online marketing career. And you get to work side by side with them. You get to call them on the phone. You get to Skype with them. You get to come up with a business plan of what you want to do, how you're going to do it, and they're going to help you with that for $1. You're going to go through 18 steps of training, 18 steps that are going to teach you how to be an online marketer as if you've never done it before, all the way to the very end. So you understand the concepts, you understand how it works, you understand what you have to do. Okay, so you're going to see all that. Also, you're going to get sales pages, capture pages, the entire sales funnel already done for you. You're going to get an email autoresponder system. You can set that up with the emails ready to go. If you're not comfortable crafting your own emails, you're going to have all that stuff ready to go. You can try it all out for 2 weeks and really just make a decision, is this something I want to be a part of? And I think to recap that all together, once you decide to, go for it and, make it a business, which for me is kind of a no-brainer, because you get all of that, you get to see all of that and experience all of that. And once you decide to go for it, even for me, and, Nick, I'm sure you did too, but there's going to be points when you still have a couple of questions, when you're like, all right, how do I do this? Or, one of the most important questions, or one of the most popular questions, is, what do I use for traffic? Okay. Who's the best solo ad provider? What about Facebook ads? What about organic free leads and stuff like that? So those are some popular questions. So once people get to that point, earlier we had talked about a community. So whether you're in Lifestylepreneurs, whether you're in my 6-figure business page, or you're here hanging out with us on these weekly webinars, we're going to surround you in a community where you're going to get the answer you need. So I'm telling you guys right now, if you guys stick with us, one of the biggest things that you guys need to realize right now, okay, so this is kind of your come to Jesus, or your your epiphany, or whatever it is. But if you guys just don't quit, okay, if you guys just don't quit, you're going to find success. Because if you plug into the systems that we're using, and you follow the steps in the training, and have the right mindset that we're talking about, and you guys give yourself the personal development, and you follow along, and you apply what's taught, you're going to find success. Because like we said before, those degrees of separation between making it and almost there, it's just a matter of tweaking. And it's just a matter of finding out what's working, what's not working, and getting you to that point. But all you have to do is not quit. Okay, so I hope you guys get that. I hope you guys just realize that. And it's hard sometimes, because quitting is easy. Quitting is really easy. It's like, man, you know what? I know what I can do. I can just go trade time for money. I can go work my 9 to 5, or my 10 to 7, or my overnight job, or whatever it is. I can just do that, because I know if I do that, I'll get a paycheck. So quitting is easy, but you got to push yourself, man. You just got to push. You got to find ways, because you got to ask yourself, and you got to reach deep down into your heart. Is this what you really want? Do you want that lifestyle of freedom? Do you want to be able to take care of your family from now through the rest of your life and never have to worry about money? For me, it's a no-brainer. So if you plug into the systems that we use, you go through the training, you work with the coaches, you pull yourself into our community, and one of us or the community, people in the community, there's always somebody there to help you. There's always someone there that you can reach out to. So as long as you don't quit, it's literally just a matter of time. Okay.
100%, man. And that was really solid. And I'm seeing some comments coming in from you guys. I love the example that you give, Lance, where you're saying you're selling the warmth of the fireplace and not the bricks and mortar. Pretty much digital altitude is just to teach you how to be a better marketer, so you can give better analogies like that. Okay. Because we understand that companies, we all understand here, those of you listening, me and Dan, that companies come and go. Okay. Companies come and go, but your brand is eternal. I want you to remember that. Okay. Your brand is eternal. Companies come and go. All right. So whether you're in a health and nutrition business right now, whether you're in a travel business, whether you're in a Forex business, okay, there's a lot of e-commerce. There's a lot of different businesses out there in different niches. Okay. Whatever business you're in, it's great to believe 100 wholeheartedly in the business. You don't want your business to go out of business, right? I'm not saying that it's like, it's going to happen. I'm not trying to put that in your head whatsoever. I'm just saying that it does happen. Okay. Over 95% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Within the next 10 years, 95% of that 5% fail. Okay? So it's a very small percentage that keeps succeeding. So that's why we focus on these principles. When you guys learn how to build your brand, right? You learn how to be an effective marketer through digital altitude, then you could take that skill set and you can apply it into whatever it is that you want down the road. So that's why I'm a big advocate when it comes into educating yourself on marketing, right? It's cool to know about the product, right? So you can effectively explain it to people. But if that's all you're focusing on is learning more about, your product instead of how to effectively market your product, then you're just going to be stuck with a garage full of products. Right? It's like, that's like me. My closet was filled with products and I was just like, couldn't sell it. Right? So when you get started with digital altitude, like Dan was saying, just to get back on topic here, as you guys start going through these steps, you understand, right, the importance of having that bulletproof mindset, that millionaire mindset. Okay. Then you start to get these strategies and these tactics as far as generating leads, right? The best type of business model when it comes in terms of information marketing. Okay. And how it's one of the highest, markets out there for people that are into this stuff. That's why Ty Lopez is all into that. Like, right. He has his 67 steps. And we're not saying that you guys need to go out there and start creating your own 67 steps, right? Just leverage a proven system that's already been created. Okay. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Okay. Once you start having success, right? Once you make your first $1 million online through the system, then you can go create your own company. Okay. Then you can go and build your own brand. You can build your own business. But for those of you out there that don't want to have to deal with that trial and error of just like, okay, how do I get a customer support team, right? How do I get this paperwork all filled out? How do I do all this stuff? It's like, it's already been taken care of for you guys. So when we say that literally all you do is you start up on the $1 trial, you go through the process, you connect with your coach, you apply what you learn into marketing, into your mindset, into the business. Then as you scale up, you teach other people to do the same thing. Then the system starts working, right? It's effective. That's why like the system within the franchising industry is why it worked, is because people didn't have to come up with the architecture and the structure for the whole McDonald's building, right? That's why all McDonald's is pretty much look the same, right? Because it's a system. Now it's a broken system. Don't get me wrong. It's like, I would never invest in that, just because it's like, it takes over $1 million in liquid assets with this. It's like you start up for $1. Yes, there are other products, you understand that. It just depends on which level you want to go in at. Me and Dan, we decide to go all in, right? Because real leaders commit, real leaders go all in. So whatever you guys decide to do, whatever level you decide to dive in at, I just want you to understand that once you make that commitment and you believe in that commitment that you've made, you surround yourself and you stay plugged in, it's only a matter of time before you succeed. Realize that, okay? A big objection is that it takes too much time to become successful, right? It takes too much effort. It's too hard. It takes too much work. Well, here's the thing. Anyways, right? It's like, oh, it's going to take me 5 to 10 years to make this work. Where are you going to be in 5 to 10 years if you don't make this work? It's like you're still going to be doing the same old thing, right? Still complaining about the same old job, still complaining about the same old routine, still being bored. It's like once you make that decision that the next 5 years can be totally different than the last 5 years, then that's when things will start dramatically changing for you. So I really hope that you guys understand that that commitment is what's going to take you to that next level. Okay. So as we start going through these comments here, I just want to, if we want to open it up to a Q&A, unless you have anything else you want to throw out there for him, Dan?
Yeah, Nick, actually, I think I want to hit on one thing. I think it was Sean that brought up credibility. I want to get into that, but also why don't if you don't mind, Nick, screen sharing when I'm done here, if you want to screen share, just take people real quick through the 18 steps, just kind of, flip through and show the 18 steps and just kind of show them what the back office, looks like. But I know where is he? Sean, you had asked if you're just starting up online, what do you do? What you use as income credibility that's effective? And quite simply, I want to make sure that you guys realize that you guys, if you're just starting out, you guys don't have to, be the guru, or you guys don't have to have all these income claims for yourself in order to be credible. The one thing that you guys have to have is honesty. You got to be honest with people. And what you can do is you can leverage other people. You can leverage myself, you can leverage Nick, you can leverage any other person. You can even leverage, someone 2 weeks ago that just came in above you. But you don't have to have specific credibility yourself, but you can leverage credibility. So as an example, if you're going to create a video, you can come across with some energy and some honesty and just say, hey, you know what, guys, I'm really fired up about this opportunity. Let me tell you about this dollar trial, man. I was blown away. I got to meet my coach today. I was really excited. There's 18 training steps. I can't wait to go through that. This system is absolutely amazing. I'm super fired up. As a matter of fact, one of my sponsors, Nick, is having some great results. Let me show you. And then boom, you pan off to what Nick is doing. And Nick, it's another video where Nick is sharing his income results, or somebody else, or anybody. But you can have passion, you can have excitement, and then you can leverage somebody else. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you credibility because you're being honest and you're leveraging somebody else. And someone can still be interested, still be excited because they see and they hear passion and they see the results that somebody's getting, someone that you reference. And it's like, wow, if they can do it, you can definitely have credibility even though you're just starting out by leveraging somebody else.
100%, because people believe that they need to be making money, right? It's like that principle behind three-way calls. Why do you do three-way calls? Because you don't have credibility, so you leverage the credibility of your sponsor as that bridge, right? So when you hop on the call, it's just like you're saying, hey, Jeff, you on here? Great. Adam, you on here? Hey, Jeff, this is Adam. He's my sponsor. He's really crushing in this business, and you edify them. It's kind of the same thing online in terms like, this is what I did in my sales funnel, you guys. It's like when I was just starting out, in the business, it's like, of course I didn't have income results because I was brand new. So it's like, you can even say that to someone and be honest with them. Be like, look, it's actually kind of unfair because I just started. So of course I haven't made anything yet because I'm just getting going, but here's where I'm going. You speak the vision into them. Okay. You say, well, listen, I'm going to do this with or without you. I would rather have it be with you, but understand that we're going to take this to the top. And here's why, because I've aligned myself with this guy or this girl who's absolutely crushing it inside of their business. They're living the lifestyle of their dreams. They're taking their family. They just got back from like Thailand. Just got back from LA. Like they made this crazy lifestyle video from it. It's a little extravagant, but at the same time, it's like, it's working. So that's who I've partnered up with. And I'm a big believer that if you say what people say, you do what they do, you get what they get. Okay. So, when you decide to partner with us, we're going to be heading in the same direction. So you got any questions? You're ready to get started. So all you're doing is you're just talking about your vision, and then you're connecting that vision with the person who has the results. Okay. So I hope that helps. So let me share my screen real quick. I'll just give you guys just a quick little rundown for those of you that just want to see it. I'm not going to get too much in depth here just because it's like you guys can reach out to the person who invited you on this after this. So whether Dan invited you on or I invited you on or someone else did, get back to them and just tell them, you're ready to get started. You're ready to make that commitment. But inside the back office, first thing you do is you set up a time to Skype with your coach. Right? So that's the very first step. Your coach actually has to unlock the step. So it forces your members to go through the training, because understand that we all live in the microwave generation, where people put something in the microwave, they push start and they expect it to be done in 30 seconds, right? They get started 1 minute later and they're like, I'm not making money. I thought I'd be making money. It's like, yeah, oh my God, man, you got to be kidding me. So you actually have to go through the steps. You have to talk with your coach, and the coach breaks it down for them. Okay. Once they Skype with the coach, the first steps is the startup steps. Okay. So the startup, you get introduced to Michael Force, the CEO and founder. Connection's a little slow right now because we're doing the webinar, but this video pops up right here, and he just gives you a little introduction and then takes you through all the steps, right? How to create a 6-figure digital business online, 90 days or less. So it gives you the whole blueprint, and it's up to you to take action on that blueprint. Okay. Step 2, the missing ingredient from 99% of businesses, why they fail. So setting you up for those roadblocks and how to overcome them, right? The millionaire mindset, right? Franchising, and how that relates to online businesses, the number one business model that will make you the most quickly, how to license the most profitable products. Okay. And as you start going through these steps, right, these are testimonies, but step 6, you'll have to Skype with your coach to continue going through them. So I'm not going to go through all 18 steps here, because you guys can, take the $1 trial, go through them yourself, start watching the videos, but it's over, I believe, over like 15 hours worth of like training, 10, 15 hours, somewhere around there. But as you guys start going in here, you'll be able to go into, your business section. I'll just go into my earnings really quick and just show you guys this. Like today, earned a little over $1,400 just today. I didn't really do anything other than invite people onto this webinar. So the coaches are closing these sales, right? Over 17,000 the past 7 days, over 50,000 the past 30 days. And I'm not sharing this to brag, obviously. Income disclosure, probably throw that in the description of the YouTube video. It takes hard work to do this, you guys. Like I said, when I started when I was 19, it took me, the time, effort, and energy to learn the skills, but Digital Altitude just excelled it to the point where, I was able to get results a lot quicker with maximizing my time, effort, and energy. Okay, so let me go ahead and stop sharing screen. Okay, there we go. So back on the face here. But you guys, okay, understand here. If you're constantly just grinding and hustling it out, you will get results, okay? But here's the thing. As you start to progress in what we said in the beginning of this webinar, you want to learn how to maximize and improve and just make things a little bit more effective while following the same principles. Okay, so what I mean by that is, instead of beating your head against the wall, constantly being that workhorse that is grinding 24/7 to make $2,000 per month in your business, would you rather work, 2-3 hours per day, put in the work, put in the effort still, and then taking off the rest of the day, go doing fun stuff, focusing on having more positive energy, because that's what attracts people to you. And that's actually what works in terms of law of attraction. If we go deep into it, we can go deep into a webinar later about this type of stuff, but that's what really works, and get 10 times the results from that. Make over 10 grand per month. Of course, you'd rather do that, because we're all doing this for the time freedom in the first place. Okay. So that's the real reason why we're doing this, because it frees up our time. You still work with your members, but at the same time, they're taken care of, so you don't have to worry about them being left out to dry. Okay. Let's see.
I think we can start certainly answering some of these questions too. I know, Ashley, you had asked, do you recommend DA for someone who is new to network marketing, who has never been in business before? I know, obviously, DA is a top tier, or what they call an ascension model. And just so you guys know what ascension model is, or top tier is, most of us have a phone, right? Some of us have an iPhone, so this is an iPhone. Apple is an ascension model. So they get you in the door with their base product, which is an iPhone. And then what happens there is, once you have an iPhone, chances are you want to sync it up with something else like an iPad. Then you move up to an iPad, and then you move up to a MacBook, and then a MacBook Pro, and then the desktop, and it goes up from there. And that's kind of what a top tier or ascension model is. And that's what Digital Altitude is. It's different levels of top tier products, and they range anywhere from $37 up to $27,000. But one of the reasons for me, and I'm sure, Nick, you would probably agree on this too, but if I was just starting out, like I told you guys that I've been involved with network marketing for the last 15 years. I first got introduced when I was 24, same age as Nick. If I had found Digital Altitude back then, someone to take me by the hand, give me the training and the guidance, and show me exactly step by step how to do it for the last 15 years. Like, I wouldn't have struggled. I wouldn't have just dipped my toes in the water. I probably would have went all in a long time ago had I had a system like that. So for me, obviously, Ashley, you can recommend whatever you want, but for me, 100%, I would recommend Digital Altitude. And also, the other thing you got to realize too is that, if you picture the peak of the mountain and the base, it's a climb. No one expects anyone to go straight to the top. Although, yes, some people do that, but most people that do that have had experience and or success with other marketing ventures online. So they might have a little bit of that, that funding to be able to do that. But if you're just starting out, regardless of where you're at, I would definitely recommend that, because you have that coaching, that training. And then also once you combine that with our communities, all the pieces are in place in order to get some great results. And that doesn't mean, again, that no one has to go straight to the top. Someone could come in at Rise or Ascend or any of these other different levels, and then you just work your way there, and then you just fine tune and tweak what you're doing until you're able to scale and move up the mountain.
Definitely. And as these more questions start coming in too, is there a DA page for all the members? Yeah, just type in Digital Altitude on the Facebook search bar and that'll pop up. That's for like the corporate, or even go into the community in the back office and click community, and there'll be all the Facebook group links. So you click it and there's one for each product that you go into. Okay, now for those of you guys that are asking, like, what do we prefer, Online Sales Pro versus DA? I prefer both, right? So having both, they work perfectly together because OSP, they partnered with DA in a way where they have sales funnels set up for it. So you can just leverage those sales funnels inside of it. So there's two different like target markets in terms of online marketing. There's people that already have a network marketing company that are already in one, they're focused on their business. Then there's people that are just interested in making money online that have never done a network marketing company before. Okay, so for the people that already have a network marketing business or a traditional business or business for that matter, I recommend Online Sales Pro to them because it's it cuts through the barriers, okay? And let me give you an example here. When you're talking with someone, let's just say on Facebook, right? And they're in another company, whether it's Amway or whatever it may be, and you're in like World Ventures and you're talking with them, right? It becomes a debate of whose company is better. And it gets to the point where nothing constructive comes from it other than wasting 15, 20 minutes of your time debating with that person of whose team has more momentum, which company's, a lot better, a product or the travel-based industry and all this stuff. And it's just like, no one joins anyone. But instead, when you're talking with someone and when I'm talking with someone within a network marketing company or in a business, instead of me saying like, here's why my company's so great and like, here's why you should join me, I'm asking them questions about how they're marketing online. So notice the difference here. And some of I know all of you guys are thinking, how do you get leads as well? I've seen some of you asking the question, like, what's the strategy for getting leads and everything? First, number one, you shift your mindset from focusing on how do you get leads to how do you help more people, right? So when you're talking with someone, instead of being like, here's why my company's so great, like, hey, I got this video I want you to check out. I'm always asking questions like, hey, what are you using for your sales funnel online? How do you generate leads online? Hey, I understand you love your company. That's great. It's a great business. What do you do to generate leads online? And I just am quiet, let them answer it, right? So when you're asking certain questions like that, then you can gauge it based on their response. And when they're ready to, I plug them in with OSP. And then when they're ready to take their business to that next level and scale past 10 grand per month, Digital Altitude is the way to go for that. Like OSP, it's great if you want to create like 5, 10 grand per month. And if you hustle harder and if you build up a big enough brand, you can go beyond that. But Digital Altitude is how you're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand per month. And obviously not guaranteeing any income for you here, because I can't guarantee that you're going to have the work ethic. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people say the potential of what you can make, but you have to grind. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Okay. So everything we've talked about, you guys, over the past like hour and a half on this, I know we've been on here a while. I just want you guys to take it all in. Okay. So I'm just trying to talk as I'm reading through these comments, but
yeah, I see one from James. You had asked, let me go back here. Coming up with compelling content for Facebook, or was that Instagram? How do you come up with compelling content? All right. So I'm going to give you two different scenarios. So if you guys, I think that's a pretty legitimate question. So you guys can write this down. One acronym that you guys need to remember is ILT, which stands for Invest, Learn, Teach. So literally what we're doing right now is you guys hopefully have taken a lot of good, copious notes. You guys have a lot of content that we've talked about here. You have a lot of stories, a lot of analogies that you can give. So one of the things that you can do, either to turn around and make a video or to put a post on Facebook, is ILT. So you invest time, sometimes money, if you have to pay for a course or something like that. You learn something and then you turn around and teach it. So quite easily you could say something along the lines of, hey guys, I was on this great webinar last night and I heard this analogy about boom. It really taught me X, Y, and Z, and I wanted to share that with you. That's content, okay? And you could do that all the time. You could turn around and book live and say, hold your face. Hey guys, I was just on this webinar last night with Nick and Dan, and they, also if you leverage other people, that's going to give you credibility. Little point there. And you could say, hey, I was on this webinar last night with Nick and Dan, and they talked about blah, 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 blah. I really learned X, Y, and Z, and I want you guys to think about that next time you're trying to create content. I want you to think about this acronym ILT because it really helped me out, and I want to share that with you. That's an easy way. Book, listening to an audio, watching a YouTube video, reading an email, which brings me to my second point. Okay, so in order to create content, here's something else that you could do as well. Whatever niche that you guys are in, let's say you're into health and fitness, let's say that you're into online marketing, let's say that you're into makeup, any of those things. I want you guys to find the top leaders that are in your niche, okay? So if you're into, let's just say online marketing or email marketing, Igor Kafitz, Frank Kern, Ryan Dice, any of those guys, okay? Go onto their, Mike Dillard, go onto their website, go to like MikeDillard.com, FrankKern.com, RyanDice.com, and then get on their email list. So if you have a Gmail, a Yahoo, MSN, Hotmail account, any of those things, create a new email list and then just do, Mike Dillard funnel at gmail.com, Frank Kern funnel at gmail.com, Igor Kafitz funnel at gmail.com, and then take that email address and then subscribe to their list. So then anytime now going forward, when you're looking for content, you're going to be able to just click on that email address and then see all of their emails, and all of those guys send out emails every single day, and they're just packed with value. Granted, there's some sales pitches in there because obviously at the end of the day, they want to sell you their product. But that's a great way. I know I use that. Nick uses that when we're trying to email our list and we're trying to come up with, I have brain farts all the time when I'm trying to come up with content to email my list. But all I got to do is I got to reference somebody else's email, and then I can either pick it apart, I can copy and paste it, I can change some of the words around, change the call to action around. But that, for me, is a great way to get content every single day.
100%. See what he did there, guys? Yeah, see what he did there? Word of mouth for those guys right there. That's how they generate free leads, right? So just using the example right there when it comes in terms of that, like you have people recommending your content, right? Telling to subscribe to your email list and everything. And then people, it's like me and Dan get messages on Facebook from people saying like, hey, I was recommended to you from my business partner, and I'm ready to get started with this. Okay, so you'll get recommendations as well. But in terms of Ashley, your question right there, do you recommend DA for someone who is brand new to network marketing, who has never been in a business before? Yes, absolutely, because they take you through step by step. So it simplifies the whole thing down. Like, here's the thing. When someone jumps in, some people do get frustrated because all 18 steps aren't open right away. But if they were all open right away, everyone would get overwhelmed. Okay, so they got to understand that you have to take, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Not that you would eat an elephant, but you get the analogy here, right? How do you go up a staircase? One step at a time, right? You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take that first step. Then you take the next step. Pretty soon, you're climbing up and you look behind you, you've progressed so far. So I definitely recommend for someone that's brand new, never done anything with online marketing, digital altitude is the perfect route. For someone that is already in a business, that is committed, like lifelong to their business, they're dedicated, they're focused, and they're just looking for ways to build their list and start doing direct response marketing and start, following up with their leads, then I recommend OSP for that, for the reasons that they have sales funnels and a creator where you can create your own capture pages, as well as the app. Like, for those of you guys out there that are already in OSP, like, how beneficial the app is. If you aren't using it, if you're not in it yet, I'll just pop it up real quick and I'll just kind of give you guys like a quick little preview, nothing too crazy on it, but you can like track all of your leads and you could see how many leads you're generating. You could see the funnels that you have, whether you want to share, like launch or share a funnel that you've created or run through the system. So if you're making like these little sales funnels with videos of your company, you can just click share, copy the link, and send it to someone in an email, right? And also you have the ability to go through these things right here, okay? So you have your leads, you have your notifications, I can't read this while it's reversed, but scripts, rebuttals, resources, the affiliate section. So like when I recommend, when people start generating leads through the strategies that we teach inside of our private Facebook groups, Dan's group and my group, when you guys start using those for whichever method you want to apply, whether it's like Facebook, right? You just pick Instagram, YouTube, right? You pick the strategy that you enjoy doing, okay? So it's not one's better than the other. It's just the one that you enjoy the most, okay? I want you guys to understand that. One is not better than the other. They all have their strengths. They all have their weaknesses. Pick the one that you enjoy the most, right? And to make the most fun out of it. But as you start generating leads, you simply tap their name, right? You tap their name and you tap text, right? And it autofills with the message that you added in your back office, right? So it's literally just tapping to follow up, and it's super quick. So it's like, just to give you guys an example, and I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but when it comes in terms of like following up with my traffic and my leads and everything, like I say, keep it super simple, right? It's like, hey, what's going on? This is Nick Anderson. I just saw that you put in your phone number on my website for Online Sales Pro, right? If they were to opt into my sales funnel for Digital Altitude, I would just say, hey, I saw you putting your information on my website for Digital Altitude, a little while ago. So I wanted to reach out to you for my personal number and see how I can help you out. Do you have any questions about the system? Are you ready to get rolling with it? Okay. So for those of you that have a primary business and you want to start following up with your leads, building your list, creating sales funnels, you start leveraging OSP. When you want to take your game to the next level in terms of like marketing, understanding all about online marketing and building a primary business and having top tier products like Apple has, like Dan, the example you're giving, that was perfect. When people get started with Apple, right, they purchase like, an iPhone for a couple $100, right? Then they upgrade to a Mac for $1,000, and then they start getting a whole display, a desktop for like a few grand, and then they start downloading apps and all this stuff, right? So that's what Digital Altitude is, right? You have multiple products that people can start going. If you just have one product you're selling, right, that it only can get out there so much before it gets saturated to the point where everyone that's purchased it, they get tired of it, right? It's like if Apple only had one product, how long would Apple last, you guys? Not very long, right? Unless they keep innovating the product. Not only do they have more than one product, but they keep innovating each product, right? My old MacBook that I spilt water on like a few years ago, it's sitting in this cupboard right here. It's chunky, it's so thick, and this one that I have now, it's so thin, so they're constantly making it better. So like with Digital Altitude, that's why they have those higher level products, okay? And OSP is just what you use to market those products in an effective way that initiates the principles behind direct response marketing. So I hope that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, Nick, I want to cover one example here. Obviously, you had talked about follow-up with the OSP app, which is awesome because also, too, you can realize that if you have OSP and Digital Altitude, you can use the OSP app to follow up for Digital Altitude. And that's one of the things that I did. So I just want to show you guys. I'm going to, let's see, where are we? I want to screen share just for one quick second. And I'm just going to show you guys what I do. So every time somebody joins me in Digital Altitude, and I know it's probably a little small on the screen here, I send them this email, and I have that email in a notepad down here. And I just copy and paste it. I also have this notepad synced up with my phone as well. So I can, if I'm on the go, if I'm out somewhere or whatever, I can literally just a couple of taps of my thumb. So all I do is, let me see, I'm trying to do a couple things here at once. So I'll go into, let me see. Of course, my internet's probably going to work really slow right now. Anyway, I'll go into my DA back office. I'll tap the email address of the person that's new, and then I'll copy and paste this email in here. And it basically just says, hey, this is Daniel, your sponsor in Digital Altitude. I made this quick video. You should watch it right away. So again, a little bit of a call to action. I want you to watch it right away. This will give you a quick overview of what you can expect and some things you need to take action on in order to maximize your results. Again, little mind thing there, maximize your results. People want results. Congratulations on your decision to build a business online. I'm here to help any way I can. Watch the video, reach out to me on Facebook, and let's get you climbing to the top of the mountain. So then when they click on that link, Nick, this will seem really familiar, but so you can see right there, that's the video that we shot when we were out in Vegas. And it's basically a welcome video. So just, you can create that personal touch by saying, hey, and And I take them right through the steps. I tell them to call their coach, to download Skype, to start their training right away, and then also to reach out to me so we can get connected and I can plug them into our community. But when you add that little video touch, it's a very good, it's a very good way to follow up. So if you guys are comfortable shooting videos, then I would definitely recommend if you can even incorporate that video link into your app or any type of response that you want to give people that are joining your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and right now Digital Altitude has like pre-done pages for like the video and funnel and stuff. But in order to customize it, like if you want to customize it to your need, if you're kind of a more experienced marketer, or if you want to learn how to customize your own pages and start building your own brand, offering your own ebooks, your own courses, your own video trainings like Dan just showed you, then that's why you want OSP, just because you can create that type of stuff. Like Digital Altitude is just pure information, education, and everything, which is one of the highest niches out there. It's like, for example, Tony Robbins, right? In an event, you go to a Tony Robbins event, I mean, you could spend a couple $100 for a regular seat. Some people spend a few thousand to get up close and personal, and Tony Robbins just blows them away with information. So it's very, very similar in that aspect. But I want to cover a couple questions right here. James, you asked, how do we stay focused and disciplined to get all the work done in a noisy world? For me, I have to unplug from the noise. If you're constantly plugged into the noise, you can't see the way out from it, right? You know, it's like constantly being trapped in the quicksand. You're just focused on the quicksand, right? You have to get out of that. So I'll shut my phone off, right? When it comes in terms of marketing, I focus on the income producing activities of creating content, sending out an email to my list, driving traffic, right? Creating those direct response types of ads to sell a product, because that's the only thing that you get paid for in this industry, right? And when it comes in terms of networking, you know, I'll network with the people that are commenting and like messaging me on social media from the content that I'm putting out there. So the people that are already interested in what it is that I'm doing, right? Instead of just like messaging, because I understand some people teach the strategy going in Facebook groups and messaging people and, having conversations with them and doing that to build the rapport and everything. And it works. It just takes a lot of time personally. So that's why it's like when you create the content and you start reaching out to those people, you unplug from the noise, right? So it's like, example here, right? You wake up in the morning. What's the first thing that you do? Do you go on your Facebook feed and start scrolling through your feed, seeing what's going on in other people's lives? If that's the first thing that you do, that's why you're getting in for overwhelm and getting distracted and figuring out why you want to have the discipline. It's because, you're always focused on other people and what they're doing, right? The Facebook newsfeed is like the YouTube sidebar, right? It's a black hole where you get sucked into that and you get drawn into it. And that's where the shiny ball syndrome comes from. Like, oh, another video. Oh, this looks interesting. I should get into this. I should buy into that. I should do into this and everything. But you just stay focused. You stay laser focused on it. You focus on your income producing activities and you apply what we're teaching you. Then you start to get results. Okay. And it's all habits, right? People want to change their results, but you cannot change your results. You cannot change your results. You can only change the habits that you took to get those results, okay? So when you're focused on your results, first thing in the morning, you log into your back office, you check your commissions and everything. At first, if you're not making anything, you're going to get frustrated. You're like, this isn't working. And I thought I'd be making money. I should go on my Facebook feed, see what other people are doing. I get distracted. There's so many different businesses. Now I don't know what to do, right? So you have a little checklist of what you want to get done during the day, and you focus on that every single day. So create a little checklist for yourself, okay? And that's one good thing that OSP can help you do. It just keeps creating that, checklist to keep it simple for you guys.
Yeah, I think James, that was a great question because so many people get caught up by the dangling shiny object, and even to Nick's point, when you're just scrolling through the Facebook feed, a lot of us are friends, friends on Facebook with a lot of other marketers, online marketers, network marketers, and people are posting, oh, check me out on the beach or my fancy car, or look how much money I made, and they're throwing the income claims up there. It's so easy to get caught up in that and be like, well, Billy Bob over here just made $1,000 yesterday, or Billy Bob over here just, made $20,000 last month. Maybe I should go jump on his opportunity and try that. And it's so freaking easy to get distracted. So you really need to, again, back to what Nick was saying, focus on those income producing activities and stick to one thing. Get really good at one thing and then move on. And that one thing could be any of these opportunities. Could be Digital Altitude, could be Online Sales Pro, could be Mary Kay, could be It Works. It could be any marketing thing out there. But just stay focused and get good, because your potential with, really any company all comes down to you. It all comes down to you making the decision and to go after it. And if other people are having success, you can have success, but you want to just be able to channel that and focus it on the one thing that's in front of you. And, again, back to Nick's point again, shutting out the distractions. So again, you can focus on what you're doing. And, one of the main things you need to do is just those daily activities. And those daily activities should include some form of value or content to the marketplace. Because the more value you can provide, the better off you're going to be. And Zig Ziglar has a very famous quote. He says, you can have anything you want in this world if you help enough people get what they want. And it stands very, very true.
Yep, 100%. And while you guys are taking action, and you're helping other people and you're creating your content and everything, as long as you have that positive emotional feeling while you're taking that action, no matter what action you're taking, you'll get a result. I want to say that again, okay? Because it passed over some of you guys. Because we're going over a lot of stuff here. When you're taking action and you have that positive emotional feeling while you're taking that action, no matter what action and strategy you're following, you will get a result. If you're feeling negative while you're taking action, no matter what you do, you're going to struggle to get a result, okay? So feel positive first, and while you're taking that action, that's why I say pick what you love to do. Do what you love to do, and the income will follow, right? So in your business, it's like, do you love making videos? Do you love writing? Okay, so I say capitalize on your strength. So for those of you out there that are more of a writer, focus on copywriting, okay? Becoming good at sales copy, right? Typing up, Facebook ads. That would be a good strategy, right? And that will translate into typing up copy for your email marketing, right? For sending it out there and broadcasting like Amazon and eBay and Nike and all those companies do, okay? You're studying top marketers in this industry, seeing how they're doing it. You're learning, inside Digital Altitude Online Sales Pro, how to build your list and how to respond with your list effectively. So you're getting the right education, right? And you're actually applying that from there, okay? So when it comes to, spending most of our time low, we do it on, creating content, just creating content, putting stuff out there, whether that's creating another Facebook ad per day, making another video, doing like a review, doing some like mindset type stuff, recording a webinar like this. It's just constantly pushing out content, right? Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, 1 is always greater than 0, meaning that 1 view is better than no views, right? That 4 or 5 view video, which you expect to get seen by thousands, one of those views could be from someone who has a team of 300 people and is just like, you know what, man, I want to get started with you in Online Sales Pro and start using this for my business to build sales funnels. And I got like 300 people that I could recommend in word of mouth advertising for you. See what I'm saying here, you guys? So it's all about just building that up, building that up, building that up, and you're stacking those bricks over time. That's why that analogy, I'm like going to keep giving it because it makes, perfect sense. But Kyle, real quick on your question, brother, on capture pages, do you ask for their email, name, and phone number, or just email? I just do email because it's a low barrier of entry. And then from that point on, as you start to provide more value and they get to know you better, you can send them to a page where you're asking for their name, email, and phone. But first and foremost, if it's a cold traffic, they don't know you at all on social media, just do email because it's low barrier, right? And then as you plug them into your group, you get to know their name anyway, and you can call them on a first name basis.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that too. It kind of feels a little easier when that's all you have to give up. And also when it comes to cold market too, people are very defensive. So just the email address people can live with because then they can always go unsubscribe. But when it's the name and the phone number, I think it's really the phone number. That's the catch for a lot of people. But I would definitely start with that. And just real quick back to Lo about the content. I know for me, once you get your ads up and running, whether it be solo ads or Facebook ads, once you have something that's working, like your advertising. Once that's kind of working, that can kind of hang out in the background, and some of your time is just going to be to monitor that, maybe tweak it, maybe adjust some things, but you really don't spend a lot of time on that. So for me, the content that I'm creating is mainly focused on value. Literally about 90% of what I do when I'm actually working my business is up here in the office. I'm either making a video, trying to teach, coach, train, or I'm making a video in regards to Digital Altitude or Online Sales Pro as for a YouTube video, a video that I can make to my email marketing list. But it's always about creating value content to give to the marketplace. Now, as an online marketer, I could just let my ads run and I could just just let that cycle go.
Mhm.
But for me, I find more value and I've seen better results by teaching and coaching and training people and giving value to the marketplace, by creating content, creating value. So
Mhm.
that's just me. And I know, Nick does the same thing too.
Yep.
But I think you're going to build your brand more. You're going to expand yourself personally. You're going to help develop yourself into a better leader that people are going to want to follow, which is also going to build your business as well. So
Mhm.
that's what I would focus on.
Yeah, and that's one of our main goals too, is building like a legacy. You know what I'm saying? Creating a brand that is so large that it empowers people to follow their dreams, pursue their passions, and go after what they want in life. And when you're creating like paid ads and stuff, you can set paid ads out there. Like you guys, you can put a Facebook ad out there and spend like $20 per day on it. If you're tracking, how much it's costing per click to go through your sales funnel, what your conversion rate is on that funnel, and you have your numbers dialed down, you understand that, then you could walk away for a month and just let that ad run and make money. Like you can literally do that. But at the same time, it's like where happiness comes from is progress, right? So if you're just sitting there and you're doing nothing in your business, you're going to get bored. And it had to happen to me, right? It's just like, I just had ads running out there, and it was like for a while I stopped making videos for a bit. I stopped creating content. I'm not perfect by any means. It's like I got lazy for a bit. And then at the same time, it's like, man, what really makes me happy is like what I was doing in the first place when I was making $100 a month. It's like I was creating the content, I was getting started, I was putting it out there. So it's like that's what drives me back to do these like 2-hour webinars and all these videos and all this stuff. It's because that's what's really gonna keep pushing you forward, and that's what's gonna keep you engaged with it. Like Jim Rohn says, don't strive to become a millionaire for the money. Strive to become a millionaire for what it takes and what you need to become in order to make that money. It's like my old mentor, he used to tell me that don't plant a tree and water it because you love to watch it grow. It's the same thing with your business. You got to fall in love with the process. You got to fall in love with the struggle. Be more in love with the struggle and the process of what you're going through than you are with the car that you get at the end when you receive your paycheck that you're going to buy, right? And that vacation that you're going to take. More in love with the process of growing and like becoming a better person, becoming a better marketer, and just becoming a better human that can influence others and help them follow their passions, their purpose, and all of that down the road. Okay, so real quick, Ashley, how can you get one-on-one help with creating Facebook ads that have results for those of us that can't write an ad for anything? One thing that you're going to have to learn is how to copyright, unless you want to learn how to do ads. There's people out there that you can pay like a couple $100 per month to have them write ads for you and do that. So it's either your time or your money, right? Like we go back to the investment, what you're willing to do. So if you don't want to learn it, then you can pay other people to do it for you who have experience in that. But if you don't have the money to pay them to do it, then you're going to have to make the investment and the sacrifice to learn how to copyright. Like I say, when I was in school, elementary school, I was put in the slow reading classes, I could barely write. Like I couldn't even like do cursive. All the other kids are writing in cursive perfectly. I was like struggling. It's like I could barely like read, you know what I'm saying? Like still I could barely read because I have ADD. So I'm just like always all over the place on it. That's why I get on these crazy tangents too. That's the way my mind works. So when it comes to like sales copy, that was a very difficult skill to learn, but I realized that writing copy and speaking on video are the two top skills that you can learn in online marketing. Okay, copywriting, because that applies to blogging, that applies to email marketing, that applies to Facebook ads, any sort of ads that you want to put out there, as well as speaking on camera, conveying an idea and a message in an empowering way, because that right there is really what's going to get your voice through. So, I would say, Ashley, focus on like learning whichever one of those two that you want to master, that you'd want to be perfect at. And then as you practice and as you do it, you can invest money to pay others to give you help. But at the same time, it's like, you just got to go through that learning phase.
Let me just chime on that real quick too, because I think as far as advertising goes, I've used solo ads, I've used Facebook ads. I have seen 10x the amount of results with Facebook ads compared to solo ads, literally in just the last 30 days. So I've made $5,000 in the last 30 days just from Facebook ads, and so I think that's the way to go. So Ashley, if you can focus on getting good at Facebook ads, and really it's just trial and error. And both Nick and myself have how to do Facebook advertising on our YouTube channels. So watch them again and again if you need to, and just experiment. I mean, you could create a Facebook ad for $2.50 and see if it works. And again, there's no such thing as lost money. You're just getting data to find out what works. So I would definitely do that. And I think that Facebook ads is just really the way to go when it comes to marketing your business. I think you can create that a much better personal touch than you can with anything, with any other form of advertising, at least right now.
Yeah, and Kyle, real quick, brother, to touch on that as well too, Dan, like that was a really good point. But Kyle, you had so you're saying when you're new to purchase traffic from someone else, so like through solo ads, I'm not sure if that's what you're saying, or doing Facebook ads to build traffic, especially when you're just getting started building your brand. When I was starting with Facebook ads, that helped me build my brand because you're unconsciously in their face all the time, right? Even if your ads suck at the start, you know, like my ads were terrible. I had no idea how to write them in the start, but I was always in their face to where when they got better, people started messaging and saying, hey man, I've been like following you for a while. I've seen your ads and everything. Like, you know, I love how like you really improved now. It's like, tell me more about what you're doing. And I say, have you seen the video? Then I go into, you know, the whole process from there. But at the same time, it's like, I would recommend learning Facebook ads, man. Like, cause if you're going to purchase leads from someone else, you don't know how targeted their traffic is. I mean, their traffic could just be like random people that they purchase on solo ads from like different countries that don't necessarily speak English. So it's kind of like solo ads work for some people that have the right traffic, they got the right traffic source, the right vendor and everything. But at the same time, it's like pretty tricky because you don't know where those clicks are coming from. With Facebook, you can literally target specific groups of interest. So like I can go on and I can target people that are like Jim Rohn, you know, and then if I create an ad, I could use quotes from Jim Rohn, right? So it's speaking directly to that audience and using the same language that they use. So so you say that you're already buying traffic from credible people and getting results. However, secure if you believe Facebook is better. There's some pros and cons of each, you know. One person will say that solo ads are better. One person says Facebook ads better. I like Facebook ads more. That's what I'll say. I wouldn't say it's better. I just like it more because I can target more specific to who I want to market to.
I'll handle low. You said, do you create your own ads or outsource the ads? Personally, I do both. I actually, I kind of experiment with my own Facebook ads, and I've had some ads that have run really, really well. I've gotten them down to, you know, under $1 per click. I've even gotten it down to, I think one of my best ads was like 29 cents per click. And if you figured the average solo ad or the average solo ad provider gets you in at about $1 per click. If you get any cheaper than that, then you really have to question the quality of the solo ad provider. And I know like Igor is one of the best solo ad providers out there, and he's like he's almost like $1.20 per click. He's pricey, but he usually does have pretty good quality. But you know, for me, I also outsource some of my Facebook advertising too, because again, I'm not a pro and I've been working with someone who is a pro. So Lo, if you are interested in that, just reach out to me on Facebook, and I can give you some details if you're interested in that sort of thing.
Awesome. And Rich, real quick, brother, if the text or email does not appear on your app when trying to follow up with your leads, just go into your back office, brother. Click edit, click autoresponder, and then insert that in. You just type it up, and then that auto fills in there. Okay. So as far as that goes, guys, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys have any other questions or anything, but
I want to go back to sorry, Nick. I want to go back to Michael. He asked, says Michael Force talks about, and just so you guys know, Michael Force is the founder of Digital Altitude. Michael, what do you say?
Contact customer support then, brother. That's a tech issue.
Yeah, he said Michael Force talks about banners and blogging. In the back office of DA, he talks about all types of traffic, anything from solo ads to social media advertising to banners and blogs and stuff like that. And really, that's just going to come down, honestly, to personal preference. I know one of the coaches in Digital Altitude, who's actually one of the top coaches, and he was also my coach, Coach Bo, awesome dude. He actually himself in his own DA business, he uses banner ads, and he has a lot of good success with them. And one of the top leaders, like Jesse Singh, he does a lot of blogging. He swears by his blog. He's also one of the top income producers. It really comes down to what you're passionate about, what you're good at, what you're comfortable with. But out of all of those, whether it be social media, YouTube, Facebook, blogging, banners, whatever it is, find one thing and try to get good at it. And don't give up quickly and move on to the next thing. You know, try it again, tweak it, twist it, turn it, but just give it a shot before you move on to the next thing. So if you're into blogging, then that's totally cool, because a lot of people have some really, really kick-ass results by blogging. But it all just depends if you want to be a blogger, or you want to actually maybe outsource somebody else's blog, or like a company's blog, and use that to drive your business. But I would just go with what's comfortable.
Yeah, and also what's fun too, because that's what Kevin Trudeau mentioned in Your Wish is Your Command. He says, at what point should I stop doing one strategy if it's not working for me? And that's a really good question, because, you know, if you're constantly, like, let's say you're a blogger. I used to blog and I hated it, right? I hated it. I didn't like it. You know, I didn't like sitting there typing and then trying to figure out how to get my post seen and all that stuff. It's like, I would rather just shoot a video that's 2 minutes that says everything that blog post. That was me. But at the same time, someone told me that I had to do blogging. So I just followed them. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do blogging. But I didn't have any fun with it. And that's why I wasn't getting any results. Okay. Once I wasn't having fun, it was just like monotonous routine. Is like, if you're not having fun anymore with the strategy, then pick a strategy that you enjoy doing. Okay. And it's a passion project. Like for me, for example, video marketing, the reason why I talk about that so much is just because for a whole year, it's actually longer than a year, I made videos on YouTube and I didn't get a single sale from those videos. And most people are like, well, why did you continue doing them? Shouldn't you have gone to Snapchat since you've started doing paid ads and everything at that point? Well,
Nick, I'll be back in 1 second.
Sounds good, brother. But when I was doing that, you guys, I loved it. I loved every single step of it. You know, even though I was like, some of the videos suck. Like if I go back and I watch them, I kind of get that pit in my stomach. And I'm like, oh God, it's really awkward in that video. It's like some videos I still sound awkward or whatever. I'll stutter over myself, you know, and I'll say, you know, a lot. And I'm not focused on that perfection. I'm focused on that progress. And over time, then what started to happen was, because I had so many videos out there and I had so much fun doing it, people caught on to that energy. And then they started reaching out to me saying, hey, I've been following you for a few years. Like people will say, I've been following you since 2012. I've seen all your videos, man. You know, don't tell me anymore. Just send me your link. I'm ready to get started. So at that point, you guys, that's when your brand is so massive to where it's just like, you put out a video, hundreds of people will see it, you know, but you build up to that point. Like Gary V, 1 is better than 0, right? 1 view is better than no views, right? And sometimes that 1 view will be yourself, because you'll just click refresh because you want to see if someone's watched it. You know, I've done that before. But understand, you guys, it's all a process, okay? So Mark, is it essential that you create videos or blogging to make online marketing profitable? I'm not sure I would do well at them. What other ways are there to drive my business? Okay, so you'll learn different ways inside of Online Sales Pro Digital Altitude, right? There's a bunch of different strategies. It's just picking about the strategy that you would want to do. So like if you want to do solo ads, you can just start doing that, man. It's just picking what you find the most efficient for you, okay? When you talk about your primary business when following up by email, you could literally do it in every email, but you don't want to just only talk about your primary business, okay? So it's like the example that I gave earlier, right? Your prospect's here, person's here, the direct result that they want is here. Your company, your product or service is here. So instead of talking about your company, your product or service, your primary business, you talk about the end result. Being able to live a better lifestyle, provide for their family, travel the world, right? Quit their job, fire their boss. Oh, if you want to learn how to do that, click here to watch the video showing how. And then it leads to the company, and then that sales video does the explaining for you. So for me, when someone asks, like, Matthew, just to kind of touch more on this, when someone asks, like, what business, or like, explain to me all about your business, I'm not going to spend 30 minutes to an hour typing up a novel on Facebook to explain it to them when I have a video that does all the explaining in 20 minutes or less. Okay, so what I would do is I say, sure thing, have you seen the video yet? They're like, which video? Like, oh, give me a second, I'll grab the link for you. You know, then you can pull an Eric Worre if you want. When do you have 20 minutes of free time to check it out? For me, it's just like, you know, I'm like, well, since they're already interested, they'll watch it. It's like, okay, give me a second. I'll send them the link. If they don't watch the video, then I'm not going to take the time to explain everything to them. I just say, okay, you're asking me what the video already explained, so check that out, and then come back to me and I'll kind of answer your questions from there. So when you email, you're just talking about the direct result, and then you're leading them to a video that does the explaining, okay? Whether that video you made yourself, or that's the, you know, company made video that's actually engaging. It's a webinar that's done that explains the product or service, okay? So I hope that makes sense. What other ways are there to drive the business? There's lots of ways, Mark. Lots of ways, man. I mean, we've been on here for 2 hours. We could go for another 8 hours, but respect your guys' time. And obviously, there's so many different ways, man. You just pick one that you want to do, one strategy, then you focus on the principles that make that strategy work. Okay. So we're not going to get off on these crazy tangents and off topic here on this. I believe you guys, get the point. You might have to watch this several times, to get these points to drive them home, right? Repetition is the mother of retention. Okay. Repetition is the mother of retention. Repetition is the mother of retention. When you hear this for the first time, it's not going to make any sense to you. When you hear it for the second time, still might not make any sense. You might be like, okay, I'm kind of getting it here on the third time, fourth, fifth time. You're like, okay, there we go. I'm starting to understand it mentally, but you don't understand until you start taking action with it. So it's all by trial by fire, right? Trial by error. It's ready, fire, aim. Not ready, aim, and never fire. Okay.
Yeah. And speaking of going off on tangents, and we could be doing this for 8 hours, that was me having to go adjust my kid because he's fussing. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon.
Definitely. But yeah, guys, we appreciate you. We appreciate you guys for hanging on there with us. All these questions are good. We love them. And if you guys, are ready to get started, you're ready to get plugged in, you're ready to take action, just get back to whoever invited you on this. We want to be ethical with this because we understand that word of mouth advertising, people will share this webinar when people watch it. We don't want all of your people that you share this with signing up with us. So that's why I'm saying, if you're ready to get started with Online Sales Pro Digital Altitude, get back to the person that invited you on this and tell them that you're ready to get started. So if Dan invited you on, if Dan sent out an email, hit Dan up. If I invited you on, hit me up. If anyone else did, hit them up, okay? Be ethical about it because that's how, business stays around long term, okay? So with that being said, you guys, we appreciate you. I don't have anything else. I'm kind of a little bit fried here from all this talking and all this stuff. But Dan, anything else you want to throw in for my man?
No, I just want to add that, if you guys need to go back and watch this, this is being recorded and it's going to be on my YouTube channel. Probably not tonight. I got to go tend to some things, but I'll probably have it on there tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And I'll also, I'll post it in the Lifestylepreneurs and my group's page as well, just so you guys can see that. And I don't know where, I know Justin was on here. I don't know if Justin is still on, but dude, you're supposed to be our poll guy and come up with our, what we're going to talk about and get some ideas for us. So also, if you guys have any ideas that you want us to talk about on upcoming webinars on our weekly webinar series, just let us know. And we can certainly try to incorporate that into future webinars, because obviously the whole point here, guys, is just to give you guys some value and give you guys some content and help teach you and educate you and just expand yourself so you guys can blow up your business and get to the level in life that you want to be, whether it be income, travel, family, time freedom, whatever it is. We're here to help you guys. So if you guys want to know more, let us know.
Definitely. For those of you too that, want some more exposure, as well as you kind of want to share what's working for you. If you have a strategy that's working really, really well, and you want to be able to share it with the community here, then just reach out to me or Dan on Facebook and say you'd want to hop on one of these webinars and share what's working for you. And then we'll talk, we'll get you guys on one of these, and then you can share your story as well, because we want to start bringing you guys up. We don't want to just be like on these and the only ones talking to you. As we start to do more of these, you guys, we'll start bringing more people on and have them start sharing as well. So like we say, we appreciate you guys. And with that, we're having these every Thursday. So make sure to make it on the next one. Invite your team, invite your people on it, because, this information, this stuff, you guys, we give this away for free to help you out, because we understand that it will, impact you as well as build our brand and build everyone up, in the process. So we're not in like that competition mindset where we're just like, oh, we're competing against all you guys and we can't share our secrets with you. We're in that cooperative mindset, because that's really more conducive for growth. And last thing before, I head out, you guys, that's in The Science of Getting Rich. So if you guys read this book, Wallace Wattles talks all about that, and how this whole model, of Earth is being ruled by people that are all in that competition mindset. Okay. So once you transcend to the cooperation and you just start sharing, you start collaborating, it's amazing what you can be able to accomplish inside of your business and inside of your life on the back end.
Copy that. So hopefully some faces were melted off tonight, but I think there was some pretty good value here, and I hope you guys get some enjoyment out of this, because I know for myself, I looked forward to it every Thursday, and I know Nick, you do too. So other than that, if nobody has any other questions, then yeah, pretty much 9 p.m. Thursday night every single week. And usually on about Monday or Monday night, I will be sending out the link every single week. So Nick will have the link, I'll have the link, we'll send it out to our teams. And so just stay tuned for that, and you guys can get registered every single week.
Awesome, guys.
Boom.
We'll see you on the next one.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Bye.